we're talking about the show and anything else you keep going.
Yeah, come back to about 7 o'clock we're going.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was talking to Steve Farrell about that. It's not easy. There were one there. There were one against the ball that he
told us before, Gary, he's got to, you're not even playing for sleep tonight, tomorrow, do all that.
He said, why do you do that? I don't know. So I keep going.
So
impressive stuff.
It's about the right fight at the right time. Yeah, that's the right decision there.
He's a good fighter on his night.
Every fight wants to go, go, go.
This is Terry Dooley and Steve Wood here at VIP Promotions. It's a packed show tonight, Steve, and obviously a really decent main event. Are you looking forward to this one?
Yeah, I am indeed. It's been made about 4 weeks ago now, and Liam's been out in America with Teddy Flanagan, training hard for the event. So I'm hoping to put a good performance on tonight. But like you say, there's 7 good fights on tonight. We're going to be like 3.5 hours of packed entertainment.
And topping the bill, we've got Tyrone Nurse, as we mentioned, Liam Taylor. That's a decent TV show, quality fight as well, would you say?
Yeah, it would normally be on TV, but at the moment, there's just not the slots available. So we've all had to bite the bullet, including the lads, to put it on the small hall show. But there is a bonus that the winner hopefully will get a British title shot and move on to TV. So there's incentive for everybody. And then for people tuning on VIP TV or here tonight at Victoria Warehouse, there's a chance to see a fantastic fight.
And on the undercard as well, we've got Joe Eco's got a big fight coming up. He's got to obviously win tonight, but what are you expecting from Joe?
Well, Joe's just changed his trainer, so he's with Kelvin Travis for the first time tonight, so Joe's having a 4-rounder, and then obviously on the Jolly Boys he's fighting another VIP fighter, Adam Ridge, but he's got to come through with Dean Jones, who's a journeyman who comes in as a go, so it's a must-win for Joe tonight.
And a big story tonight as well, Muhammad Ali. He had a pro debut recently. He brings a lot of fans with him and a lot of media attention. Are you expecting big things from Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, and hopefully the pressure from last time, with him being like the first diabetic ever to get a licence off the boxing board of control, we had a lot of media with him. Still a good following tonight, but hopefully he's got the debut out of the way and he'll be able to relax a lot more and put a smoother performance in tonight, yeah.
And Luke Evans is also on the bill. Obviously, everyone knows that Luke had a terrible attack. He's recovered from that. He had a comeback fight recently, then he had an injury. He's recently said to Boxing News that he wants people to concentrate on his boxing skills rather than his story. Are you expecting to see a lot from Luke tonight and in the next couple of years?
Yeah, obviously, Brad's a prospect and really looking forward to him getting his second one out of the way, and then he's fighting the Jolly Boys, so he'll hopefully be 3-0 by the end of the year.
And speaking of the Jolly Boys, I believe the sales always go well for that one. A lot of people are talking about that tonight and looking forward to it. Is it something you're looking forward to, a way to close the year out and have put your feet up and relax maybe a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the Jolly Boys is probably the only show of the year where you're guaranteed to sell out, so there's not the pressure on me there there's promoting it and getting the tickets sold, but yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Tonight, we've got like Adam Farrell from Liverpool making his debut. He's the ex-ABA champion, so he's one to watch for. Luke Evans obviously had the horrific injury, so he's back and hopefully be challenging for titles and topping bills here next year. Kane Gardner's been looking well. He's got a tough one with Chris Hathaway, who always comes and tries. So every fight tonight's going to be a good fight, and I'm looking forward to it tonight as well.
Before we hand over to Luke Madeira on commentary, what's your prediction for the main event?
Well, I'm hoping for a Liam Taylor win, whichever way it comes for. But you'd have to say it'd be on points because Tyler Nurse is a quality fighter and very hard to tag. So it's a big ask for Liam to win tonight, but I'm expecting him to.
Right, cheers, Stephen. Good luck with the show.
Cheers, Terry and Stephen. Yeah, like you said, we've got an action-packed night tonight, headlined by that rematch between Liam Taylor and Tyrone Nurse. Taylor went into the last one having late notice. I think he had about 3 days notice for that fight, and he was fantastic in it. But first up, Adam Farrell, former ABA champion. He makes his debut at middleweight against Christian Hoskins Gomez. And then after that, the fight we were just talking about, Joe Eco and Dean Jones. And Joe's got a big fight with Adam Ridge on the Jolly Boys show here in December, but he's got to get the job done tonight, Joe, and like I said, new trainer tonight, so it'll be a tough test for him. And then Luke Evans, he was tipped by Box Nation as one of the guys to watch out for in 2017, suffered that horrific knife injury, and he came back in Bolton in August, and that went wrong to some extent with a hand injury, but he's back in there tonight against a tough Lee Gunter, and Lee's weighing a little bit heavier than Luke tonight, so it's a tough test for him. And then after that, another exciting guy at the weight Luke's at, super lightweight or light welter, depending if you're old-fashioned or not. Kane Garner's in with Chris Hadaway, and one thing about Chris Hadaway is he always comes and has a go, and it'd be a tough test this for Kane. But a lot of people are talking about Kane as someone to look out for in the future. And after that, Muhammad Ali is another one that him and Brad Ray, they both made the debut on the same show, and a lot of people are talking about both of them. Got big support and big futures ahead. Ali's in with Danny Little, and we've seen Danny Little test plenty of VIP prospects over the years. And then Brad Ray's in with Vadas Balkauskas, and I don't think he's been stopped yet, or he's been stopped once, and I know Brad's looking for a stoppage tonight in his second fight, looking to impress the fans. And Brad will be chief support tonight to the main event, and what a fight this is going to be. Liam Taylor and Tyrone Nurse, official eliminator for that British title. Johnny Garton recently won, and I think both men had fancied that fight against Johnny Garton. So the winner's got bigger and better things to come from this one, and Terry's showing me on commentary now, and it's a real tough one and a real pick-em, the main event, isn't it?
Yeah, as Steve was saying, it's a really good fighting prospect. Obviously, Tyrone's been at the level that Liam wants to get to, so we'll find out a lot about Liam tonight. At this point in his career, we pretty much know what Tyrone's all about. Everyone knows he's got an outstanding boxing brain, but he's been off form recently, so it's going to be interesting to see if Tyrone can pick up a bit of form, and if he does, it'll be a tough night for Liam tonight.
And I think that's the key thing coming into this one. Tyrone's coming off the back of two tough defeats back-to-back. You know, the Jack Catterall one, Jack many tipping to go on to world title level and win world titles, so there's no disgrace in that. And then travelling over to Australia, he lost a decision that I think many thought he won, but it's important for Tyrone to get a win tonight if he's got any ambition of getting back to the British title level.
Yeah, because if Tyrone loses tonight, he's got to look at himself and ask where he goes next. He's been talking this week saying that he's found a new lease of life. He said he can't wait for the fight, he's excited, he's changed gyms, so he's at the Golden Team gym with Padre Madonna and Darryl Kendall. So he said he's enjoying it, and sometimes if you change trainers late in your career, it can be either a sign of panic or a sign that you've assessed everything and decided that you want to have another run at the titles. So I'm hoping in the case of Tyrone, he has looked at his career, looked at what he's hoping to achieve over the course of what's left of his career, and that maybe is reflected in his decision to move camps and freshen things up. And
then in the opposite corner, Liam Taylor, and you know, Liam's only defeat so far in his career has been to Tyrone Nurse, and he's been crying out for an opportunity like this, and he's got that chance tonight, and if he can win, it puts him in prime position for a shot at that British title against Johnny Garton. And, you know, I'm sure that'll be televised, and he'll get a lot of exposure tonight if he can get the win, and I suppose it's a big thing for Liam as well to avenge that only loss.
Yeah, having a defeat is kind of having an itch that you want to get rid of. He'll have been thinking about that defeat ever since it happened. It'll have been at the back of his mind. So obviously, revenge would be a decent measure for him tonight. But first and foremost, he wants to take those thoughts out of his mind and just look at the job in hand. Tyrone Nurse is not the type of fighter you want to go in there and maybe lose a bit of composure against. If you do that, he'll outbox you quite soundly. So it's an interesting fight. There's a lot of elements to it, and as you say, the winner's going to progress to the British title, and the loser's going to have to have a look, regroup, and at the age of that Tyrone's at now and the experience he's got, does he really want to be doing that?
Yeah, and as Michael Pass, the MC for the evening, just gets in the ring, Adam Farrell's up first, and you know, he won an ABA title. He's another guy that's got a lot of potential tonight, and he'll be in the ring shortly against the tough and durable and game Christian Hoskin Gomez.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I know Adam's pro debut was pushed back a little bit, so he must be absolutely chomping at the bit to get out there. It can be quite disappointing if you expect him to be turning point at a certain point and then it gets pushed back, but he's just going to have to come out tonight, win his pro debut, and hopefully pester Steve every day next week for the second outing before the turn of the year maybe.
Yeah, and this first round of his debut is going to be so important for him to settle in and show how good he is. You don't win ABA titles, as you know, without being a good boxer.
Yeah, everyone knows the ABA is a difficult competition to win, so now it's a chance for him to turn pro and transition his amateur skills into the pro game, parlay what he's done as an amateur into the pro ranks. So I'd be interested to see him tonight. And as you say, when someone makes a pro debut, you're looking for good shot selection and a settled approach to the way they go about things.
Yeah, and the wait is nearly over for Adam Farrell in just a few moments' time. Firstly, Christian Hoskins Gomez will be making his way to the ring, and Farrell will be looking to make a big statement in there tonight. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, apparently he used to be a primary school teacher, so he's ticked that box, and now he's looking to tick some more boxes in the boxing ring.
And here's the MC, Michael Pass, to introduce both men we were just talking about and get the show started.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening once more. Welcome to the Victoria Warehouse here in the heart of Manchester. Please welcome tonight's first boxer entering the ring. Here is Christian Hoskin Gomez.
And here comes Hoskin Gomez, and I remember in August he had that great fight with Sean Ben Mulligan over 8 rounds, and it was a real war, and he's one of these guys that when he turns up on his day, he can beat many of the prospects that we see, and it's a real acid test up first for Adam Farrell.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for, as you say. People got fed up with seeing prospects fighting journeymen who were just there to cover up. So these guys who come and fire back a little bit more and maybe put themselves out there more are getting a lot of work now, and that's not a bad thing.
And opposing him, a young man from Liverpool, here is Adam Farrell.
Yeah, and here comes Adam Farrell, and we mentioned it a few moments ago. This is a nervy time, this, for a boxer on your debut, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult to imagine what it must feel like to make that ring walk. Obviously, sometimes journalists and writers and broadcasters can make a ring walk with the fighter to get the experience of it, but ultimately you're not going in there to fight, you're going in there to write. So it must be a strange experience, an exciting one, and you must have a maelstrom of emotions as you make your way to the ring.
Yeah, and I know we sold a lot of tickets for tonight as well, Farrell. As you can see, it's already filled up nicely in the Victoria warehouse, and that just adds to the nerves, but he's looking to make a statement, and he certainly looks confident.
Yeah, as you say, having good support as well is a key thing. It'll give him that little bit of a boost when he hears fans cheering every punch that he lands.
Ladies and gentlemen, VIP Promotions proudly presents an evening on professional boxing. The officials have been appointed by the Central Area Council of the British Boxing Board of Control. We are live on VIPboxing.tv and Only Full Fights of Facebook. Our first contest is 4 3-minute rounds of boxing in the super middleweight division. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black wool shorts trimmed with gold. At the weight he's scaled 11 stone 10 pounds. Tonight, he's had a half century of professional contests, this being his 50th. From Plymouth via Cadiz, Andalusia, España, bienvenue, buenas noches to Christian Hoskin Gomez. And opposing him, boxing out of the red corner, wearing also the black colour shorts trimmed with silver. At the weight he's scaled 11 stone, 10 pounds, 7 ounces. Tonight is his proud professional debut, presenting from Liverpool, Adam Farrell. Timekeeper at the bell, Gary Grennan from Burnley. Referee in charge of the action, Leeds, is Andy Brook.
Okay, guys, you both know the rules. Defend yourselves at all times, obey my commands all the time. Nothing around the back, nothing there, nothing too low. Okay, good luck, touch them up.
Here we go then, and you know, having such a good amateur background, does that make making your debut a little bit easy, do you think?
I think it depends. Obviously, if you spent a long time in the amateurs, the pro game, it's a cliche, but it's a totally different beast. So I think sometimes some fighters can stay amateur for too long, just like I think some fighters might stay British champion for too long, and it can become counterproductive. I like to see fighters do well in the amateurs and turn over ASAP, to be honest.
Yeah, and Farrell started so well, and first shot he threw was a nice jab to the body, and I think that's one of the underrated shots when guys are coming through, just to slow their opponent down, and immediately he started working to the body.
Yeah, it gives you a bit of space as well, that shot, as you say. I remember Matthew Macklin using it quite well against Wayne Elcock. He set the jab to the body on against Elcock and brought over the right hands. It gives you a little bit of breathing space as well, so sometimes if you're thinking about your next attack or maybe running out of ideas a little bit, just stab that jab to the body and it gives you some space to have a think and set up your next attack.
It's a really nice and composed start this so far, isn't it? You know, you see a few guys that make the debuts that come out all gung-ho and look for that big punch, but he's just selecting his shots nicely.
Yeah, as you say, nice shot selection. He took a left hook as well earlier in the round. Gomez spun him off the ropes with a left hook, so he's taken a punch himself, which is always good. A couple of clips there as well.
He looks like one of these guys that's really picking his shots well in there. He's not wasted anything so far. Everything's landing on the target.
Yeah, and he's got the nickname The Animal, so we'll be interested to see what kind of a beast he is in these fights and as he progresses. Obviously, there was an American fighter called Frank the Animal Fletcher who was an absolute beast. So Sam Eggington has got the same nickname, and usually indicative of someone who likes to have a bit of a fight.
Yeah, you can see that already. He's certainly not taking a back step. But this is what we were talking about with Hoskins Gomez before the fight started. He really does test you, doesn't he? And if you're not 100% on your game, you will get found out against him.
Yeah, good right hand as you were speaking there, Luke, from Gomez, and he also followed it up with a left hook, as you say. He's lost his last couple of fights, but he had a win in April against Troy Williamson. In April against Lee Churchoff, 4th round TKO. So he has had some form coming into this fight earlier this year. He's a win some, lose some kind of guy who's lost more in recent times and been stopped a couple of times. He was stopped by Landry Corday in 4 rounds in September. Lost his last fight on points over 4, but as you say, he's looking fairly decent tonight, and he's going to make Farrell fight for this money tonight.
Yeah, and I mentioned that fight with Sean Ben Mulligan that he had, and you know, it was one of them he could have easily tucked up after the first couple and just saw his way through the 8 rounds, but he had ambition right until the final bell, and you can see he has that in there tonight. He's certainly come to win.
Yeah, that's what we like to see. As we say, it's increasingly looking like Farrell's going to win the round, but he's taken a few shots himself. He knows now what it's like in the pro game. I like these type of opponents for someone who's turning over from the amateurs, someone who's going to whip them back, maybe swipe them a couple of times on the blind side of the referee, get them in clinches and make them work.
It's been such a high pace this first round as well. No credit to both lads fitting us in there. Tom Farrell's just commented, and he can see Adam getting a stoppage here.
He could do, yeah. He'd probably have to work towards stoppage, start really digging into his shots in the next round. The second round, maybe start throwing some of the body shots as well, looking to find the stoppage that way. It's certainly possible. But what you don't want him to do is to go all out for the stoppage as early as the second round. You want him to, like you say earlier, build on it with certain punches and see what happens.
Yeah, and that was a perfect opener for him.
Yeah, he won that round, got punched a couple of times, so it shows him that what the pro game is about. And ideally, when you make that transition, you want to bring the skills that you've accrued in the amateur code, but you also want to learn how to bully people and knock them about in the professional game. So I like to see debut fighters within the first 4 or 5 fights have to do bruising encounters.
Yeah, and he was just showing glimpses of that amateur pedigree throughout that first round.
Seconds out.
Yeah, it's good to have those skills. It gives you something to build on as well, and for your trainer as well, it's a good thing. It gives them something there. They know that they've got the tools there at their disposal to start crafting a really good, rounded professional fighter. Paul Edwards is in the corner, and Paul knows the amateur game like the back of his hand. One of the best predictors of fights as well that you can possibly meet. So if you happen to be on Twitter and you're putting a bet on and you want to find out the outcome of a fight, drop Paul a line, and 9 times out of 10 he'll point you in the right direction.
And we talked about fighters coming, turning over after having such a good amateur background, but there are a few cases of fighters that are not achieving the potential in the pro game, turning over from the amateurs. But it looks like Farrell's really settled in there now, and he's got quite a professional style.
Yeah, as you say, sometimes the fighters who don't make that leap are the ones who retain some of the amateur style. Or my man Audley Harrison, who just didn't have the chin ultimately for the professional game. I'm sorry to say, Big Audley, if you happen to be listening to this. He just didn't have the chin, Audley, and it was exposed brutally many times as a professional. But like you say, if you've got the ability, the skills, the ability to defend yourself, and then you start to learn how best to break an opponent down over the distance in the professional game, it does work in your favour the longer your career goes. And to be fair to Farrell, he's had a career. We mentioned before, he was a school teacher previously, so he knows what it's like to be in the working world, and he'll really want to make a go of his professional career because he's obviously made great sacrifices in order to turn pro.
And just as you were talking then, he landed a few straight right hands, and that seems to be the shot that's been working for him so far. Just take half a step back and land that straight right hand.
Yeah, as you say, he's starting to do some two-fisted assaults. The only thing I'd worry about him is a couple of times during those combinations he was square-footed. So you have to watch that if you square your feet up, you don't cop a counter shot yourself and end up being put down. Remember James Toney being briefly floored by a southpaw straight left when he was flat-footed, and obviously Sam Peter put him down with a jab when Toney was flat-footed and obviously well past his best. So that's something that Farrell might want to look at moving forward for future fights.
Good work from Gomez on the ropes there, though. He doesn't tuck up like a lot of the fighters that we see. He is throwing back in there. Mentioned it before.
And as I say, it's nice to have a bit of a maul and a brawl along the ropes in your pro debut. It tells you what life's about in the pros. We used to have a class of journeymen maybe 5-10 years ago. We used to say we were really adept at covering up and making prospects miss a lot of shots, and the prospects that stood out, people like Kieran Farrell a couple of years ago when he turned pro. He absolutely battered his opponent to the body and head. So you're still looking for those like fundamental switches in attack, but you're also now looking at the opponent and seeing someone like Gomez who's coming and throwing punches back and giving the debutant a bit of a test in terms of the chin and his ability to take a shot.
Come towards the end of this second round, and he looks a little bit more comfortable in there in this round, hasn't he?
Yeah, that first round as a professional, you're always going to be a bit jittery. You're going to have nervous energy burning off you in waves, so get that first round under your belt, and he's done that. The second round he consolidated, he took a few shots himself. So if the stoppage is going to come, he's going to have to step things up a little bit in this third round and then really crank it up in the fourth round. And with debutants, we do find they either fade in the fourth round or they really turn it up.
Yeah, just looking at him in the corner there, he does look nice and relaxed, not breathing too heavily. And like you said, it's been such a high pace these first two rounds. You wouldn't forgive either man having a little bit of a break in this third session, but I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's unlikely. I reckon in this third round we're going to see Farrell try to step it up again. If he is going to go for the stoppage, like I said in the second round, maybe a few body shots, a few combinations. Try not to come square on, not to leave himself exposed, and see what he can build from that. And just for anyone watching the show tonight, as part of the Black Friday promotions, VIP&D boxing equipment designed by Jamie Moore is offering 30% off all boxing gloves and training equipment with the code VIPTV30. So that's 30% of the range of boxing equipment designed by Jamie Moore, and that's available up to and including Black Friday. So get on that as soon as possible, and we'll be reminding you about that code throughout the night. And if you're lucky, I might even tweet it on the way home and get Jamie himself to retweet it. But back to the in-ring action again. Farrell, good couple of jabs there, and he tried throwing a few ups in there, left up to the body, so maybe he's going to come out this round and try working towards a stoppage.
He's got to be careful though. Gomez landed a couple of uppercuts with his right, and there's another one. That seems to be the shot that's working for him.
And I think you forget about Gomez, he's only 23, he's still a young man himself, so even though he's lost 38 fights, won 7, drawn 4, he's still a bit of a spring chicken in many respects, and he's still got the spunk and ability to throw his own shots and try and cause the occasional upset.
Yeah, and he seems to have been around for ages, doesn't he?
Yeah.
On these shows.
And like we said, it's not like it used to be. If you cause an upset or two, the phone would stop ringing and you won't get any assignments. These days, if a journeyman brings an upset, they still might be out the next week or the following week. So we are seeing them trying to spring a few more upsets and generally putting out more shots, and we're not really seeing this Peter Buckley style journeymen that we used to see were really difficult to catch. You kind of have to throw a bag of ice at them to get anything to touch them.
I'll tell you what, Farrell must be hitting quite hard in there, because the last 30 seconds or so, Hoskins really slowed his work rate down, and he's just comfortable to tuck up now and try and avoid some of the shots that are coming in from Farrell.
Yeah, and the shots that he's putting out himself were clipping shots. He tried the right uppercut there, but even that left hook that he kind of clubbed in, it didn't have the velocity that he was showing in the shots in the first round. And again, Farrell touches him to the body as well, which is good to see.
Yeah, and Gomez has just been cut under the left eye. I think that was caused from one of the right hands that Farrell landed.
And in the midst of target. Yeah, I mean, he managed to land a little right uppercut, but there was no steam on that punch as well. So Farrell might just be able to walk through him in this next round if he decides to throw caution to the wind and either, as you say, work that cut to go for the stoppage or try and get a cleaner ending.
Yeah, and we talked about Farrell potentially tiring, but it looks like Gomez is struggling with the pace a little bit in there now. Just dabbing at that cut, and you can see there the jab. There's no venom behind it anymore that there was in the first couple.
Yeah, and on that occasion, Gomez went back to the ropes, and instead of trying to fire back or mess his opponent about, he just kind of tried to get away from the ropes as quickly as possible. So, like, as you say, it's a sign of a fade. That cut's underneath the eye. It's a bit of a vertical slash, so horizontal slash. I'm sorry, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a fight-ending injury. But anytime you see blood, you just go for it. It's like a shark smelling the blood in the water, and Farrell should just jump on him in the final round, I'd say.
Yeah, and so far this has been a perfect debut for Farrell. Yeah, he looks like he's taken the fight out of Gomez a little bit, and the ambition he had in the first couple seems to have just faded then towards the end of that third.
Yeah, it'll be a long round, this one now, next for Gomez. As we say, he's had 38 losses, but he's only been stopped in 4 of them, so Farrell would really have to go some to put him away in this next round, but it'd be interesting to see how he comes out in the first minute of the next round, or if he comes out to try and score the stoppage.
Yeah, and I suppose for Gomez, he can see the finish line now, can't he? Which will give him just a little bit more energy back in those legs.
Yeah, and he's earned his money tonight. He's been cut, he's taken a few shots, and as you say, in the first round he tried throwing a few shots out himself, so he certainly gave Farrell something to think about in that first session, and any problems that he was posing in that first session have been solved. So, as you say, it's a perfect pro debut so far. I'll touch the wood if it's really badly damaged
10
table.
seconds, corners.
And we hope we don't jinx ourselves, but I reckon Farrell's going to come out and try and make a statement in the last round.
Seconds out for the fourth and final round.
There's absolutely no doubt that, barring anything dramatic in this last session, he's going to be walking away with the win. But he'll be looking to make it 4 rounds out of 4. And you can see he's still got the spite in those shots.
Yeah, nice left hook to the body went in, and again as well, just as I spoke. So he's invested in the body attacks from the second round onwards, particularly in the third and now the fourth.
Yeah, and he's not been phased when Gomez has gone on the front foot and put him under pressure. You see a few guys, a few prospects that they don't really know what to do when they're put under that pressure so early on in their career, but Farrell looks like he's experienced that and he can deal with it well, and he has done so far.
Yeah, and you want that, as you say, you want to have some pressure at least within your first 10 fights. You want to have different scenarios that you have to face. You don't want to get to 15 fights or maybe a title fight, and that's the first time you've been in a bit of a bad spot.
Yeah, and he took a couple of right hands there, Farrell, and came back with a left hook of his own that landed well.
Yeah, and again the left hook to the body, that's probably been his best weapon so far throughout this fight. As you say, the jab to the body early, and now he's switching that to the left hook to the body. So the fact he's switching his attacks between the body and head shows that he's got some ring intelligence.
Yeah, and he's not telegraphing those body shots either, is he? Just when he's in range, he's just touching to the body. Most effective type of shots that he's throwing. There's another left hook that's landed.
Yeah, we've said it many times on these shows. We've seen fighters who telegraph, in particular, the right uppercut. They already try and bring out an Hollywood shot that you can see coming from a mile away. So you want fighters to kind of not develop those bad habits early in the career, because once you get an habit early in the career, it's really hard to break it as the career progresses.
Been nice varied work as well from Farrell. He's picking his shots nicely and varying up his work to head and body, left and right hand.
Yeah, and as you say, Gomez really felt the pace of the third round in particular, when the body shots are still coming in, but there he tries winging in a right hand, so that's just a final warning shot across the bowels of Farrell to tell him to keep his guard up right until the last couple of seconds of a fight.
Yeah, and he seems like one of these guys that doesn't have the one-punch concussive power, but he's going to break people down, and when he steps up to 6, 8, 10 and 12 rounds, those body shots are really going to have an effect.
Yeah, if Gomez is really feeling it, I'd say if we had 2 more rounds of this fight, the prediction of the knockout would come to fruition, because Gomez is really feeling it now.
Yeah, 30 seconds left of this one. And I think Farrell will be pretty happy with how this one's gone. We've come to a close in the fourth.
Yeah, obviously there'll be bigger tests ahead, but getting your pro debut out of the way is probably one of the biggest tests you'll have in your career until you meet someone of note or fight for the title. You've got the nerves, you've got the people coming to watch you expecting you to win and have a nice night out, and then you want to make everyone happy as well, and you've also got to make yourself happy in terms of your performance, and I think Farrell will go away and be happy with what he's done. He's been square on a couple of times, a few mistakes here and there, but that's boxing.
Yeah, there's certainly a few things to learn, but that's as good as a debut as you're going to see from anyone against a real tough opponent. And you can see Gomez in the corner there, he was struggling with that pace after 4.
Yeah, he was feeling it, Gomez, especially that fourth round, as you say. The body shots have kept coming as well, and he was struggling for breath at times in that round, so he's having a well-deserved rest after that 4-rounder, and the fact he's not been stopped means that he can bounce into another opportunity in the next couple of weeks if the phone rings, although that cut is probably going to require a bit of work as well, so that's a bit of a shame for him. But Farrell won't care, he's won the fight, and that's all that's going to matter to him. And we'll have that formally announced now by Michael Pass, sorry.
Close.
He's
Manchester's Michael Buffer.
Yeah, I thought our budget had increased by a good few £1,000 there for the moment. But I'm sure Michael Buffer can't do Elvis as well as Michael Pass. I don't think anyone in Oldham can do it as well as Michael does it. If I'm expecting 4 rounds to 0, never be surprised at anything different.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 hard-fought rounds of boxing, referee Jamie Kirkpatrick, scoring for Andy Brooke, has to judge this particular contest 40 points to 36 points. for your winner on his grand professional debut, Farrell. And your appreciation, please, for Christian Hosking-Gottman.
So thanks to the Oldham's equipment of Michael Buffer there, we've got the particulars, and as we suspected, 4 rounds to 0. You can't really complain with that. And as you say, it's a nice pro debut. He's not just had to trundle around the ring after a guy who's got his guard up constantly. That's just like being in there with an effie bag. He had someone who threw punches back at him and tried to give it a bit of a go in the first round.
Yeah, and Joe Eco's up next against Dean Jones, and Dean Jones is very similar to that. He'll come and have a go tonight, which is just what Joe Eco needs. He's preparing for that big fight with Adam Ridge in a 4-rounder. Tough test for him tonight. After that, Luke Evans and Lee Gunter. Luke Evans impressed everyone before that injury, the horrific knife injury he suffered. He's looking to get his career back on track with a second comeback fight tonight. Then Kane Gardner and Chris Holloway in together.
With contest number 2, ladies and gentlemen, here comes Dean Jones.
Just as we mentioned, Dean Jones comes to the ring. He's not won yet in his professional career, but he'll be looking to change that tonight, and there's a danger that Joe Eco could have overlooked him tonight.
That's always a problem when you've got a big fight lined up, that you overlook the fight that you've got immediately in front of you. Famously happened to Frankie Randall a good few years ago when he was the #1 contender for the world title and got chinned spectacularly, so you always have to watch out for a fight like this. Let's just say the opponent's not won a fight yet, but he's coming out to war, so he's obviously got something planned and wants to try and give it a go.
Very important night this for Joe Eco, because without a win tonight, that big fight with Adam Ridge doesn't happen in December.
And opposing him, here comes Joe Eco.
And here comes Joe Eco. And you'll having spoke to Joe a couple of times, I don't think he will be overlooking this one.
Yeah, we should say that you have to be a professional. You can't be looking ahead to your next fight. You've just got to eat what's on your plate, so to speak. Joe needs to come out tonight, put on a good boxing display, and not just get the win, but whet the appetite of the people watching who are going to be supporting him going into his next one, his big opportunity.
Yeah, you can see in the crowd as well, he's got a lot of support, Joe Eco. He always does. They've come up to Manchester for this one. And one thing about Joe, he's quite big and stocky for the weight, isn't he? He's got big legs, a lot of power in his shot.
Yeah, and those big legs, as you say, he'll generate the power, and he'll be sturdy as well. So he's just got to go out tonight, get the win, bounce into his next fight. It might be one a really good close of the year for him if everything works out the way it should do. And we're likely to go to 4 rounds tonight because neither fighter has scored a knockout.
On we go with contest number 2, ladies and gentlemen, 4 3-minute rounds of boxing in the super lightweight division. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black spangled shorts trimmed with the sky blue silver spangled effect. At the weighing scale, 9 stone, 13 pounds, presenting from Telford, Shropshire, Dean Jones. And opposing in boxing out of the red corner, wearing the black colour shorts trimmed with gold. At the weighing scale, 9 stone, 12 pounds, 4 ounces, presenting from Oldham, Joe Dangerous Eco. Timekeeper of the bell, once more, Gary Brennan, referee Jamie Kirkpatrick from Preston. 4 3-minute rounds.
Yeah, that's well for the rules. Keep the punches open, match heads in close. Obey my commands at all times, defend yourself at all times. Touch close, ball to you off.
Here we go then, and you can see Joe Eco. It doesn't look like he's overlooking this one, but we'll certainly see.
Yeah, Joe Eco, he's 4-0 with no KOs, 26 years old, so he's got time to work in his power. And as you say, he's not going to overlook his opponent. He's going to want to get a win under his belt, probably over the 4-round distance, and then bounce into his next fight. Dean Jones has had 7 fights, lost all 7, so I'm expecting this one to go the distance, but a stoppage win for Eco would be an added bonus.
Yeah, and credit to Joe and also Adam Ridge when they meet later on this year at the Jolly Boys show. It just shows their intent of both of them, they're confident in their own ability so early in their career to fight a fellow unbeaten prospect that not many fighters do.
Yeah, as you say, it shows a lot of confidence. Increasingly, a few years ago, we had fighters building up ridiculous records, going to 26, 27 and all without any real challenges. Steve is now starting to match his fighters off against each other, which I think is a commendable thing. He's got a massive stable, so he can sit down with the loser of any particular fight and offer him further opportunities to rebuild. So I think it's a good move for them both to take the fight, and it'd be a good win for whoever wins that particular one to close out the year with.
Lovely right hook to the body landed from Eco. He's really sharp in there tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, and as you say, he looks a solid unit as well.
And, you know, with him boxing on the Jolly Boys show, 16th of December, that one is here. Will he see this as two separate training camps for that one, or will this just be like a continuation, a couple of days out of the gym and then we bang on it again?
You'd hope he'd go straight back into the gym again. Going back to Audley Harrison, and not sound like I'm picking on my former fallen idol, but every time Audley Harrison had a fight back in his early career, he'd say, I've had a great training camp. But you should be in training all the time. You shouldn't be having training camps when you're turning off from the amateur game. Your first 10 fights, you should be in the gym constantly, and hopefully in the gym constantly for the following 10 fights. And then obviously people reach world title level and might have a 12-week training camp. First couple of weeks to get the weight down, then work on skills. But I don't think at this level you should see it as a training camp. You should be in training all the time because you're a professional boxer.
And one thing that Joe has, he has so quick reactions. You usually see him drop his hands at some point during the fights, and he still doesn't get hit. He has lovely head movement with his hands down.
Yeah, as you say, that's kind of stabilising head movement. As you get that little bit older, it's a difficult style to pull off. Most notorious example is Roy Jones Jr., who had that kind of loose athletic style for many years and then was just getting banjoed left, right and centre when his reflexes and his punch resistance disappeared. But when you're a young fighter, you can drop the hand, you can use a bit of head movement to avoid shots and come back with your own counters. And I've spoken to some fighters in the past and asked them why they fight with that kind of drop in their hands, and some fighters just say they prefer punching from the hip. It's just sometimes a question of that fighter's style and preference.
Yeah, and the big thing for Joe Eco is that he can do both, and he's shown that so far in his short career as a professional. It's been a really good opening round, this.
Yeah, like you say, he's shown both facets to his game in this round. He's been a bit mercurial with his approach, but he's also got good solid fundamentals as well. So I think if you can mix those two things up, it makes you develop and improve as a fighter.
Yeah, in an opponent like Dean Jones, who likes to tuck up, try and take the shots on his gloves, how do you go about breaking down someone like that and getting through the guard?
If the guard is high, you would then try to target the body. As you said in the previous fight, maybe try the jab to the body. If that invariably works, because when someone tucks their elbows in, they've got a long tunnel of opportunity down the middle. So jab to the body, then try and put a right hand through the middle. And once you've got a few jabs to the body, they might try and their elbows might try and tuck in a little bit more, and they'll expose the flank. Then start whipping the punches into the flanks, and then hopefully they'll drop their hands, and then you can start targeting the chin and the head area.
Yeah, and you could see Kelvin Travis in the corner then talking to Joe, and he's just looking for that half step back to get a little bit more distance and land that straight right hand to the body.
10 seconds, corners.
And sometimes that half step back is required. Like sometimes you can take a step back and your opponent might fall in a little bit, and it presents the opportunity for you to land some counter shots. But so far so good for the Miko, as you say. He's on course to set up that fight on the Jolly Boys show that everyone is looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, and every time Jones throws that jab, Eco's just looking for a lean back right hand, coming straight back over the top. And I think Jones is already starting to run out of ideas in there.
Yeah, it's tough for Jones. He's every one of his opponents has had the winning record. Every one of his opponents has been undefeated, so he's not had things easy by any means. He's fought a succession of fighters who would expect to win. And I think in terms of journeyman, that could also drain your confidence as well. I'm sure no one goes into the profession thinking that they're going to be a journeyman. Even the ones that end up losing the first couple of fights might hope they can turn things around, but it's been a really tough task for Jones so far in these first two rounds, and Eco is bang on it.
Yeah, saying that though, Eco's not landed a lot in this round. You know, Jones is doing well to catch a lot on his arms and his gloves.
Yeah, and he's leaving that jab languishing a little bit, leaving the left hand out, which is one of my pet hates, but he's got a good boxing brain. He must have seen something that's making him do that. Maybe he thinks he can open Jones up that way, leave his own left out, dangling a little bit. Jones will try countering that and maybe come back with his own counter off that.
That's a lovely straight right hand from Eco.
Yeah, I should say that first minute of the round he didn't land anything of note, but he's warmed into the round now, and he's looking a bit more orthodox this round as well in terms of his guard and his style. You
can just see Eco's a class above there tonight, isn't he? In everything that he's doing.
Yeah, and that's no disgrace for Jones. Like I say, fought 7 times, lost 7 times. All of his opponents have been undefeated. So he's coming up to 29 now. So things aren't getting any easier for him. And fighting someone like Eco is just always going to be a nightmare for him. Probably the one saving grace for this fight for him is that it's over for 4 rounds and not 6.
Yeah, he trains along Kesajfak, of course, with Kelvin Travis, and he's someone that's also going to go a long way in the pro game, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's good to see all these fighters coming through. People always say when's the next star of boxing coming from in terms of the world level, but you've also got local fighters who sell a lot of tickets, who their fans see it as a social night out. They can come and support their local fighter, and then they can maybe tell their friends about it in the office, in the workplace and whatnot, and get a bit of a following that way. So it's, even though boxing is a very commercial sport and it's becoming very much corporate in terms of the sponsorship and all the rest of it, it's still good to see the fighters who draw fans from their local community and bring them to shows like this.
Yeah, and Eco's just starting to have success as this round comes to a close. And we said it earlier, but Jones has really run out of ideas about what to do. Eco's landing at will now, both to head and body.
Yeah, I think Jones ran out of ideas during the ring walk, and he's struggled to find any floating about in the ether ever since. And in terms of Eco, this is just a case of ticking that box, getting this fight out of the way and moving on to the next one. But he'll want to also do it with some style and some panache, and he's sold tickets to people, so I want them to go away with something to talk about.
Yeah, and halfway through this one, and Eco's certainly not overlooking his opponent tonight.
And he looks relaxed in the corner. You always look at the corners between rounds if you get a chance to. Obviously, when you're in a live environment like this, it's a perfect opportunity. Watching on TV, they try and squeeze in as many adverts as possible, so you might miss that coverage between rounds. As you'd expect, Eco looks relaxed and composed in the corner. Jones is on his feet. He's probably just looking forward to getting this next round out of the way so he can jump in his car and move on to his next opponent, his next assignment in the away corner.
Yeah, and talking about 2 VIP fighters getting in with each other, Colin Day and Tom McGuinness clash, top in the bill in Liverpool in a couple of weeks' time on VIPboxing.tv, and that has the potential to be another great fight. And it's always the way, if you match 2 VIP fighters together, they tend to be barnstormers.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, it's something that we've been talking about on the Box Rec forum. People talked about it for years, why they couldn't just match their own fighters against each other on shows like this. As you say, it produces a good fight. They'll sell tickets. They'll both sell tickets. The crowd colour will be great for that one as well. And Steve can sit down with fighters and say, look, I want you to fight him, and vice versa. And if the fighter turns around and says, I don't want that fight, or 9 times out of 10 someone in the training or backroom team turns around and says, I don't want that fight, well, Steve can say, well, fair enough, here's your contract back, good luck to you. So I think we'll increasingly see fights of that nature over the next couple of years on these types of shows, and that's good for the people who are tuning in and watching it on YouTube and the various streaming outlets.
Jones just doing a little bit of showboating. I'm not sure that's because he thinks he's winning the fight. Nice work from Eco again. Looked really sharp so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's looked good, as you say. He's looked really good behind the jab, particularly the past couple of rounds. As I mentioned earlier, he was leaving his left extended a little bit, maybe to try and draw openings, but now he's really stabbing that jab home, and there's real purpose behind the punch. And he varies the jab as well, which is always a big thing. If you have a bit of variety on your jab, it makes it more difficult for your opponent to read it.
Yeah, and he's very correct with the shots he throws as well. And there's not a lot of wasting. Nice work to the body and head again from Eco in the corner.
Yeah, and he's not going crazy with his punches. His nickname is Dangerous, and that's what he's been tonight. There's always been an element of danger about him in terms of the shots he can deliver, but it's been a very assured, controlled performance tonight, knowing that he's got a big one just down the line beyond it.
Nice chopping right hand over the top as well. That's an effective shot to throw, isn't it? A lead right hand.
Yeah, sometimes if you can time that punch, it's particularly effective. Remember Lennox Lewis against Lionel Butler couldn't get his jab going that great, so his finishing combination was a lead right hand followed by a left. That finished Butler off and got Lewis back on the title contention trail. So sometimes it is just a case of thinking to yourself, something's not working, shall I try something else and see if that works. My old Bible of boxing used to be the Henry Cooper Guide to Boxing, where Henry would teach people how to jab and throw various punches, and one of the things he always highlighted was if something's not working for you, try something a little bit different. One of the photographs was Henry kneeling down a little bit and just stabbing a jab upwards. He said it was an instinctive punch, but then he tried it a couple of times in some of his other fights.
And just as you were talking then, Manchester icon Ricky Hatton just entered the building. Luke Evans and Brad Ray, of course, both train at Hatton's gym in Hyde, and he'll have a close eye on them too.
Yeah, and it gives them an extra dimension in terms of their own performance. I know that they've got Ricky here, who's a genuine boxing legend. Had the massive win over Kosher Tsu in a great career, so just knowing that Ricky's in the building will be a big bonus for anyone who's on the bill tonight.
And meanwhile in the ring, Joe Eco, that's 3 rounds out of 3 so far.
Yeah, 3 rounds on the bounce, and the good thing about it is he's shown different things in each of the 3 rounds. It's not been monotonous by any means, so I'll be interested to see what he produces here in the 4th.
I see Danny Wright will do one there, yeah.
Yeah, 3 minutes to go for Eco, and like you said, he's been so good with the variety of shots he's been throwing. He's not been happy just to plod to a 4-round decision, which is always a good thing to see.
Yeah, you see him in the corner, he's concentrating on what his trainer's saying to him, he's obviously taking the instructions in. The art of being a cornerman is becoming a lost art in many ways. You've got a lot of personal fitness knocking about, calling themselves trainers. What Bobby Rimmer used to call 3-step trainers. The first step is to come to the gym, the second step they come close to the ring, the third step is you come to your gym one day and they're there training your fighter. So it's good to see the odd proper cornerman knocking about, people who can deliver information in a concise way and actually can change a fight in the corner. We talked about Joe Goosen before in the past, people like Billy Graham, people who like the fighters can adapt as the fight progresses and give them the right advice.
And what advice do you think Joe would have been getting then? Is it more of the same, or is this the time of fight when you can start to try new things?
He'd probably be told more of the same. Don't do anything rash, maybe come out for the first minute, catch the eye again of the judge, of the sole arbiter, and just do what you've done previously, but maybe try and mix things up. And maybe they might have even said, look, we've been working on stuff in the gym for your next fight, go and try and do that in this next round and see how it works in a live situation. But it's always good to see the fighter concentrating on what the trainer's telling them. It's a sign of respect.
Yeah, and I'm sure Adam Ridge and his team will have a very close eye on tonight. And it looks like that clash is certainly gonna be coming to fruition. Nice work again from Joe Eco. Nay, just dropping his hands again like we mentioned before.
Yeah, and as we say, there's real method to what he's doing, so it might be the case that he's working on stuff that he's been working on in the gym, working on it in a live situation tonight, and in that way this fight's a nice little bonus for him.
That's a nice shot from Dean Jones though, just giving Eco something to think about.
Yeah, and it's come at a nice point in the fight as well, as you say. It gives him something to think about and take away with him. Maybe got a little bit reckless there, so that's something that he can look back when he watches this fight. And he's come right back into it after taking that shot. Eco is butted up Jones's nose as well. It's really starting to produce a lot of blood this round. And this again is something different from Eco. He's really dogging him in this round. It's nice to see him doing this.
And he's really up the tempo going into the last minute of the 4th and final round. Nice left hook to the body landing again, and credit to Dean Jones, he's still firing back.
Yeah, as I say, he showed some grit in this round, Jones. His nose is badly bleeding, he's taking a bit of a pounding, but as you say, he's trying to fire back a couple of times off the ropes.
And he's really finishing with a flurry here, Eco. He's really stepped the work rate up, and you can see Kelvin Travers in the corner asking him to up it for the last 30 seconds. Really leave his mark on this contest, and he's putting everything into this last 30 seconds. Blood coming from the nose of Jones now as well.
Yeah, that's been a problem for him throughout this round. I imagine he'll be glad to hear the final bell. As you say, he's taking a bit of a pounding in this final round and throughout the fight as well.
The final few seconds of this one, and Joe Eco finished strong and he dominated throughout. And like we've been saying all night, he's set up a great fight with Adam Ridge on the Jolly Boy show here at the Victoria Warehouse in December. Job done for Joe Eco, and he'll be very happy with that performance.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. He took a shot, but you are going to take shots in fights. People are overly critical of fighters, but he showed a different dimension to his game, and I was impressed with him tonight, considering he's got a big fight on the horizon. He didn't do anything silly, but still managed to send his fans happy and with something to talk about.
And the best thing, he looks like no injuries, no cuts, nothing to worry about. We're on track for the Jolly Boys. Don't think there's any doubt with that result.
Yeah, again, I'd say 4-0. Sometimes we get the opposing fighter gets a shout of a round, but I can't see it in this particular instance.
Hand over to the MC Michael Pass to announce the official result.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Kirkpatrick after 4 rounds of boxing has scored the contest 40 points to 36 points for your winner, Joe Eco. And your appreciation please for Dean Jones.
Yeah, just as we thought, a shutout, the second shutout of the night, this time for Joe Eco.
Yeah, but it's a nice performance by Eco. We'll be happy with that. He did everything that he wanted. I'd imagine he wanted to do, and it may have even been the case he got to try out a few things as well.
Yeah, just taking a few pictures in the ring now. The customary thing to do after a win. And next up, the exciting Luke Evans in with Lee Gunter, and Luke will be looking to make a statement. Chatting to him earlier, and he's so relaxed for tonight and ready to really put on a show. After that, Kane Gardner and Chris Adderway, and then Muhammad Ali, Danny Little. All three have the potential to be great fights. All three fighters in the away corner, going to come to win, going to come to test the VIP prospects.
And as you say, I'm looking forward to seeing Luke Evans next. Everyone knows that he had that terrible attack, but now he said he wants people just to talk about his boxing, put that behind him in the past. So he had a comeback fight, then he got injured, so we had a bit of a tough bit of luck there. So it'll be interesting to see how he does tonight. Yeah,
and then after that, Luke's gym mate Bradley Ray looks to go 2-0. And then the main event in the evening, the fight that everyone wants to see, Liam Taylor and Tyrone Nurse over 10 rounds, an eliminator for the British title. A fight that both men really must win. And in a moment's time, we'll hand over to the MC Michael Pass once again to get our third fight of the evening, a 6th rounder between Luke Evans and Lee Gunter underway. Got the potential to be a really good fight, this one as well, Terry.
Yeah, it has, and like you say, with Luke, there's so much potential there with Luke, and he's had a bit of a staccato career, no fault of his own, so I'm really looking forward to see how he progresses as well next year.
On we go. Contest number 3, here is Lee Gunter.
So Lee Gunter makes his way to the ring to ACDC's Back in Black. He's won 3, lost 3, no KOs, so his record is perfectly symmetrical as it stands. And joining me now, we've got Danny Wright for this next fight. How's it going, Danny? How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I'd complain, but no one would listen. What are you expecting to see from Luke in this one?
A nice clinical boxing performance, you know what I mean? He's had his problems, hasn't he, you know, with everything that's gone on with him and whatever else, and a few injury niggles and that, but I think now he's wanting to get this out of the way and then move on to some big things in 2019.
And he's a nice boxer, Evans, as well. He's a joy to watch at times, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a lovely boxer. He gets he's a good mover. He sticks to the boxing, you know what I mean? And he slips and slides and he makes people miss. And since the amateurs, he's improved massively.
He seems a real nice character as well, from what I've seen of him.
He's a top lad. He's an hard worker, you know what I mean? He loves it in the gym. And it's a shame that trouble even out to, because he's one of them lads who tries to stay out of trouble as much as possible. So it's mad that actually that event even happened to him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he suffered that horrific knife attack.
Yeah.
His career was in jeopardy. He's managed to come back. His first comeback fight, he got injured as well. He must have been absolutely gutted with that.
I know, he must have been devastated, but he's got to get this one out of the way now and then shake that ring rust off, because I mean, he'll still be there after that such a long time out, and then having an injury and not being able to fight as often as what he wanted to, coming back from the knife attack. But yeah, in 2019 he'll be looking then to get himself into the position for some titles.
Yeah, we'll be looking for a big year next year, and he deserves it after everything he's been through. He's bounced back, got his career back underway.
Yeah.
Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, these contests this evening are live on VIPBoxing.tv, only full fights via Facebook and with the Silent Brothers in Germany. This next contest is 6 3-minute rounds in the Super Welterweight division. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the blue and white colour shorts, and the weight he's scale 10 stone, 9 pounds 3 ounces. His ring record this evening reads 6 contests, 3 wins, 3 defeats. Presenting from Canuck, Lee Gunter. And opposing him, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the black colour shorts, trimmed with white and silver. And the weight he scaled 10 stone, 5 pounds, 3 ounces. He has a perfect, unblemished, pure record. 8 contests, 8 wins. Hailing from the superb city of Salford, the undefeated Luke Evans. Timekeeper once again at the bell, Gary Brennan from Burnley, and the star referee in charge of the action is the very fine Mr. Phil Edwards from Preston.
So Luke Evans now against Lee Gunter. Both fighters are 22 years old. Luke is 8-0 with 0 KOs. As I say, Lee's won 3, lost 3. He's not managed to stop anyone. What are you hoping to see from Lee tonight, Danny?
From who, sorry?
What are you hoping to see from Luke tonight?
From Luke, just a nice boxing performance, like I said before. Hopefully this kid comes out and has a go as well. Do you know what I mean? Like with a 3-3, you're hoping that he is going to come and do that, and then Luke can show his skills more than, you know, just punching a guy who's in there not doing much and like punching a punch bag.
And that's Danny Wright. He's 10-0 himself, also known as the Wolf. What's next for you, Danny?
Well, the 22nd of December at the MEN. That's the big one, isn't it? You know, Warrington, Frampton undercard, and it's the first opportunity fighting at the MEN, and it's a dream come true for me. So yeah, I'm really excited for that.
And that'll be, as you say, it's a big show for you to appear on. So it must have been nice when you got that call.
Oh, it was massive for me. Do you know what I mean? And like when Steve said we're going to get you out on that, and obviously like it shows that Frank's interested in what I'm showing. Do you know what I mean? So it's a massive opportunity for me, and I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait.
And in the ring now we've got Luke, who's looking very tidy behind the jab. As we said earlier, he's a nice boxer, Luke. He does everything pretty soundly.
Yeah, he does. He's safety first as well. He's got good movement. He tries to set the shots up as well behind that jab. Yeah, he's looking all right in here tonight.
And we were talking before how he trains out of Ricky Hatton's gym, and Ricky Hatton's here watching tonight. As a fighter, does it make you want to put in a bigger performance when you know someone like Ricky Hatton's at ringside?
It doesn't. I mean, if you start thinking like that, you can get carried away and start forgetting what you're actually supposed to be doing in there, which is beating that opponent. Do you know what I mean? You can't fight for anyone in the crowd, but it does spur you on when you've got great fighters like Ricky Hatton ringside watching you fight. It's you know what I mean? It's like they're the type of fighters that you've been watching as a kid coming up. So to have them, well, for Luke, part of his camp and part of his training team, and it's a massive motivational tool.
Yeah, because we forget that you fighters are also fans as well. So you turn professional, start going to the big shows and shows like this, and start meeting the legends of the sport. It must be a surreal experience.
Of course it is. It is massively.
But Luke's looking tidy tonight, as I say. Really good behind the jab, everything's sound, and he's got a great grasp of the fundamentals, Luke. Gunter's just kind of following around at the moment. The funny thing about Gunter is he won his first 3 fights, all 4 rounds on points. Then his next 3 fights, he lost 2 decisions with 4-round distance, and then his last fight he lost was against Sean Cooper, and that was all for 6 rounds in October. So he had the promising start to his career, Gunter, and it just seems to have ran away from him.
Yeah, but that should fall into Luke's hands really, because he's coming out, he's having a go, and he's trying to land the shots, and you can see he's physically a little bit bigger than Luke. So it's a decent little test for Luke, this.
Yeah, and as you say, we want to see Luke get roughed up a little bit.
Of course you do. That creates opportunities. Like that was a nice body shot there, but before that though he touched up to the head with a little uppercut and then fired the body shot in. It's nice. It's good boxing.
In terms of yourself, what did you find was the biggest shock when you made your pro debut and had that first fight?
The atmosphere, but it was a great experience. You know what I mean? I loved it. When I made my pro debut, it was unreal. But they got me an opponent as well who comes to try and take my head off. And it worked. I stopped him in the first round because he walked into my big shots. But yeah, that was a night I'll never forget. You know what I mean? But I think more than that, following on from that fight, it was more like, say, like when you're getting in with these guys, so-called journeymen, who you think, well, they're not at the same boxing level as you, but they're tough guys and they know what they're doing in there, and they know how to make it hard for you and survive. And you learn. Then you just got to relax in the ring. You can't be getting in there thinking it just because as a fighter, you know how good at the level that you are. You can't just think take that guy for granted who's in front of you. You've got to use your brain and you've got to relax and you've got to box him like anybody else.
And Luke looks like he's done that tonight. He looks like he's found the range of his opponent. He looks relaxed in the corner as well, Luke, so I'm expecting to see him go through the gears maybe in the next couple of rounds.
He's barely breathing, you know what I mean? He stayed relaxed in that first round and took it comfortably, really.
It must be nice as well getting your first stoppage, winning your first fight. Do you think for someone like Luke who's got 8 fights without a stoppage, you'll be looking for that stoppage soon?
It will be, but I think if he overdoes it, he'll forget what he's good at, he'll lose what he's good at, which is he's elusive and he's a nice boxer. Do you know what I mean? And that's what he should focus on. Not going out there trying to stop people. He's finding nice shots there, he's setting up that left hook to the body numerous times.
Yeah, there was a nice right and left hook to the body there, as you say. He got a really good left hook to the body towards the end of the first round, so it looks like we've seen quite a few decent body punches going in already in the upper fights tonight, and it looks like Luke is going to carry on that tradition.
Yeah.
And now that we know that you're going to be fighting on the big one on the 22nd, we've got to get your prediction for that one. Are you Frampton or are you Warrington?
It is a proper 50-50 for me, because I think it's the right time for Warrington, coming off the back of that win and how he looked in that fight as well. He was like a different fighter altogether. So, good body shot, nice. But you do have to say, because of the level that Frampton's boxed at, I'm going like 55% to Frampton and 45% to Warrington. But it's a great fight, and I'm buzzing to be on the undercard of that.
And it shows how well Warrington's come on, that people are talking about him favouring him over Frampton, or saying it's almost a 50-50 fight. It shows that he came through these type of shows, Warrington, and now he's reached the level that all fighters want to aspire to.
Yeah. Good work, that.
Yeah, nice jab.
He's starting to find the openings now back to the head. I think he hurt him a little bit before with another left hook to the body.
Yeah, you should say those body shots have really been digging in, and Gunter he was trying to come forward a little bit at the end of the first round, but now
he's shelling up.
Yeah, I should say he's gone into his shell. He's going to start tucking his elbows in, trying to avoid the body shots, and you can actually see on his rib cage where it's starting to redden up as well.
Yeah.
So far, so good for Evans. And he brought the right hand to the head as well.
Yeah,
there,
he's varying it up now. He's going from the body then back up to the head.
And it's nice because the previous left hook to the body, he actually spun off a little bit and found the angle for it as well. So he's got a good imagination in there.
Yeah, he has.
Again, even when Gunter tries to take it on the front foot, he's just punching thin air there. It's really good defensive work from Evans.
It is. Slipping and sliding, nice. Firing them counters back as well.
And as we say, it'd be great for Luke if he gets his win tonight, goes into 2019 and gets quite a few fights under him in that particular year.
Yeah.
As we say, it's been a tough story for him, but he said that he wants his boxing to do the talking from now on.
He's young, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's a young guy. He's not. He's got loads of time on his side, so it's not like he can't do exactly what he wants to do in boxing. Do you know what I mean?
And he's done exactly what he wants to do tonight in the ring. Have you been impressed with what you've seen from him so far?
I have, yeah. That second round, especially, he stepped up then in that round, varying it head and body, finding some nice shots there. So, yeah, he's impressing me.
And as we were saying to Luke earlier on the commentary, we do like to see body punches. We do like to see fighters switch the attack from the head to the body if the opportunity is not there for the head shots.
That's it.
And he seems like he obviously all fighters take it seriously, but Luke seems to be particularly really into the sport of boxing.
Oh, he loves it.
He does it seriously.
Because I go sparring a lot at Hatton's there, and he's even when he's not even training, he's just always in the gym. Do you know what I mean? He loves it there.
And again, Evans comes out behind the jab. He always looks really composed as well. Nothing really has ruffled his feathers so far. It's been a really controlled,
couple of wild
decent
swings
performance.
There. You need to stick to that jab and set the bigger shots up.
And I've particularly enjoyed the right hand he landed to the head towards the end of the last round. I think if he sets that shot up with the body shots, and we might see more of those going in.
Yeah.
All he's got to do is watch out for those swinging shots. He just took a left hook there from Gunter, who's just winged a couple in.
He just needs to remember what was working in the previous round.
And as a fighter, when you take a shot like that, it's a temptation to just come wailing back. You have to kind of get a grip of yourself.
Yeah, but I think sometimes as well, you're prepared for it as well. Do you know what I mean? You're in there, you know you're going to get it, or there's a chance of you getting caught. So there's no point going back and losing your head and swinging back. Just compose yourself again and stick to what you're doing.
A bit of a grapple there as well. I sometimes like to see the opponents get physical with a prospect, have a bit of a grapple and a pull about with them, as Carl Thought should say.
Yeah.
Carl Thought should probably also say that he knocks out George Groves in front of 1,000 people at Wembley, but I'll get there before him.
He'd get that one in.
But again, nice boxing from Luke. He really does understand the fundamentals of the sport. He boxes behind the jab.
Good shot.
Spun off the ropes there with a left hook, and as you say, that's a really classy punch. It just seems he's realised that Guns has got a few wild swings left in him, and he's gone back on his jab there, Luke. He's got a good boxing brain, if that's the case.
Just got clipped there with another left hook. Good movement, slipping and sliding, nice.
And back onto the left hook to the body, which he's spotted in the previous round.
Yeah, he's neglected that this round.
So it'd be nice to see him get back on the punch.
Go back to the body. And when he was working the body in the previous round, couldn't have shelled up. So.
And those good body shots early in the fight, especially in the 6th round and as the rounds progress, they kind of like having rounds in the bank.
You land the body shots early doors, and maybe not right now. He might not feel the effect, but later on he'll be feeling the effect of them. Good little check hook there.
Yeah, nice left hook on the counter there by Evans. Like you say, he's taken a few shots this round, but he might just be thinking that he can be a bit more expansive with his own attacks. And that's nice. He's gone to try roughing him up a little bit, and Luke picked him up and turned him around.
It's a good little fight.
Yeah, as Lee Guns goes back to his corner, he's reddened around the ribcage, but he had a few little flashes of inspiration in that round. He got a few shots in.
He stepped it back up himself there, and went out, and I tried to put it back on Luke and let the hands go a little bit more, because like I say, in the second round he shelled up.
And they're constantly working on the those features of Luke with the end swell, just as a precaution, because obviously there was that risk after the knife attack he wouldn't fight again, so I imagine he would be extra vigilant between rounds as well, getting his skin ready.
Yeah. 100%. He'll have to keep their eye on that, all the way through his career, probably.
And he's concentrated in the corner as well. A lot of the fighters who are coming through now seem to be really concentrated in the corner. We used to have lights of Thomas McDonough who tell a joke or two, but everyone seems ultra professional these days.
I think that's just Thomas McDonough fighter anyway. He'll tell you a joke no matter where.
Yeah. I don't know if he does it to you, but every time I phone Thomas's mobile phone, he says, "Is this the police?" That's his usual one. But again, Evans has come out nice behind that jab.
Yeah.
Concentrating on the job at hand. Lee's tried winging a few shots in himself. Maybe that last round will give Lee a bit of confidence to try and throw a few of his own left hooks.
I'd just like to see Luke put some combinations together now. 2s and 3s, rather than just the 1s and 2s.
And what's it like for you fighters? Do you critique each other or have chat about your own fights and performances?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I mean, everyone's on their own journey, aren't they? Unless you're fighting a guy, you're not going to be overly critical of someone, because we know how hard it is. In there, everyone's on their own pathway, aren't they? But if you're fighting someone, and you've got to critique, and you've got to look at what their weaknesses are and their strengths.
And would you be one of those guys who'll watch tapes of opponents when you get into championship level?
I watch bits. I already do. I watch. You can see now on the left hand side there, he's starting to redden up as well, because he's been winging that backhanding. But I watch bits on him, but there's not so much you can really take, because you don't know until you get in there. But you just got to look at like what their tendencies are, and say like if they drop the left hand, or the feet aren't very good and they're a bit slow on the feet. You just weigh everything up.
I suppose that's why it's good to have fights like this, where you may not see your opponent and you've got to work things out as the rounds go along, and it helps you develop your IQ.
It's like being an amateur. That's what. Yeah, exactly right. Good shot that there.
And you just get some fighters who don't watch fights. John Murray was a notable example. I remember once after John fought, I asked him if he was watching Miguel Cotto that night, and he didn't even know Miguel Cotto was fighting. So you forget that everyone follows the sport day to day. Some people just go in there and, like in John's case, like going in there and having a scrap, and it's a profession.
Good work, that's a nice.
That's good by Luke. He slipped a couple of shots and tried to get the right hand over the top. That's a nice move.
Yeah.
But as you say, if he needs to mix that with the body attacks that were so successful in the second and first round. If he could get, as you say, 2 or 3 shots off, a left hook to the body, then bring the final shot, the right hand or right hook to the head, he might have a chance of getting this guy out of there.
Yeah, you just got to try and find the right gaps.
And there's a gap through the middle now. Gunter, he's looking to try and protect that rib cage, which is looking really red and quite swollen, and a few welts are starting to pop up. This is the 3rd time in a row as well. Gunter is facing an opponent who's undefeated. He fought Ryland Charlton in October, he was 1-0. Then Sean Cooper has been mentioned in October as well, he was 5-0, and now he's fighting Luke Evans, who's 8-0, looking to move to 9 tonight. That's another good round by Evans. I think he's taken all of the rounds, but he's been asked a few questions.
Yeah, he definitely asked a few questions in the last 2 rounds. But yeah, he's edged the last 2 rounds. The first 2 I thought he won more clearly, but he's still performing well. He's not getting it with anything really meaningful. He's been clipped a couple of times, but yeah, I'd just like to see him these last 2 rounds now, maybe, put a few combinations together and try and push him back with the shoulder and, put it back onto him. I know he's a big lad compared to Luke, but yeah, just to show a different dimension to him.
Yeah, as you say, the combinations are a big thing. If you throw 3 or 4 shots, chances are you're going to land 1 or 2 of them, especially if you can mix the shots up as well. So we'll hopefully see Luke do that in the next couple of rounds.
Yeah.
And Lee's going to try and capitalise on any mistakes the way these guys do. And I spoke to Luke after his last fight. He was gutted that he picked up the injury. He was looking to just bounce into the next one, so he's shown a lot of strength of character to come back for this.
Of course, yeah. But we all know he's got that. He loves boxing. He loves the game. Do you know what I mean? And he's always going to. It's like after the knife attack, he's always going to be thinking, "How do I get back to boxing? How do I get back in the gym?"
Yeah, and he said that himself. He wants to be now people just look at him purely in terms of his boxing. And this is almost like his 3rd comeback in a way, because he had the facial injury, then the injury after his last fight, and now he's coming back out again. So I imagine in 2019 he'll just want to rattle off as many fights as Steve can get him.
Yeah.
And as we were saying before, Steve has started matching his fighters off against each other now as well, so potentially there's big fights on the horizon for him.
Yeah. I do think though Luke's best weight will be if he can do it down at lightweight. It'd be a much more of a force down at lightweight.
Yeah, and he's a big lad as well. He'd trim those few pounds off his frames, like you say. It'd be a big proposition for any lightweight when you're looking at someone who's as physically as imposing as he is. And people often forget watching these fights. Sometimes you're fighting in between divisions until you decide which division is the best one for you. Yeah, he got caught with a right hand by Gunter there. Just needs to be careful of that. Tries his own uppercut. Maybe he needs to work the uppercut instead of just trying it when he's a bit out of range.
When he works behind that jab, it's lovely boxing. But always, this round he's took a few more than what he has done in the previous rounds.
Yeah, it's a shame. Like you said, he threw a 4-punch combination there, 2 jabs and then a couple of hooks to the body, and then kind of lost concentration a little bit and got clipped himself. So we want to be seeing more of those 4-punch combinations without any lapses of concentration afterwards. And Gunter's just looking toward now as he gets in. He's probably felt the pace, felt those body shots, and he's just looking at the light at the end of the tunnel now. But again, Gunter tries roughing him up a little bit inside. The referee sorted that out, but at some point down the line, Luke's going to have to reach a position where he sorts his own business out on the inside when people are trying to maul and brawl against you.
Yeah. too close to the target there.
Yeah, it's not been the best round Luke's had, but he's still
messy,
winning the round, but it's been a bit messy.
Yeah, a bit messier this one.
I suppose that's only to be expected the last couple of times. He went the 4-round distance, now he's doing an additional 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Do people forget how hard it is when you start stepping up from 4 to 6 and then to 8 rounds?
Yeah, I think where it really starts to tell, and you've got to learn how to pace, is when you're going for that 6 to the 8 to the 10. You know, like, that's where you've got to really develop how to pace a fight and when to turn it on and when to, you know, ease off and whatever else. But over the 6, with the 4 to the 6, it's not massive. If you're fit and you've done the work in the gym, you can maintain a high pace over 6.
And as we say, once you start going to that 10-round distance and looking at title fights after that, I suppose that's where your ring intelligence comes in, as you say, your ability to read the fight and pace yourself and adapt as the rounds go by.
I think Luke's picked up a little nick over his left eye.
Yeah, a little cut by the left eye. They were applying a bit of pressure to it. That might have been a couple of those little cuffing shots he took on the inside.
Yeah.
Seconds out for the 6th and final round.
Just waiting for the gum shields, I think, to go back in.
Okay, now they've lost it.
Yeah, a bit of confusion in the corner. Oh, there it is. They found it.
Someone put it in the pocket, I think.
We've seen that a couple of times this year with gum shields going awry. But he's banging his gloves there to get for Luke. Maybe he knows that last round he had a few lapses of concentration and he wants to put it right
I'm sure they
this
would have
time.
told him in the corner. Blaine would have, you know, said, keep that concentration up and start throwing a few more shots.
It looks like you're right, 'cause he's right on it now. Luke is firing a lot of shots. He's switching to the head and body. There he's managed to work his way from the clinch as well. And in this round it looks like he's shortening his punches a little bit, trying a few more hooks.
That's it. This is what I was asking for. 2 rounds ago, maybe push him back a little bit. Throw a few more shots and push him back.
And it might be Luke looks back at this fight, sees those couple of rounds where he dips a little bit, and that's something he can note for future reference when he goes into the next one.
Yeah.
But he's still got spring in his step, Luke. He's bouncing around, and that first minute of the round he looked like he was back to the form we saw in rounds 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Made Gunter miss a couple of times there on the ropes, which is good to see, and as you say, lands a body shot of his own. He almost slipped that right uppercut through. It was partially blocked, but it shows that he's looking for it.
Yeah, he's boxing better this round.
He almost might be as well, that bit of swelling by his left eye is a little bit of a fire under him. He wants to protect the left eye, but also put a statement out as well. The pace has dipped in the second minute of this round, but there he just picks a couple of shots, Luke. And Lee tries firing back as well. Bit of a redness underneath the eye for Luke there as well. That's I don't think at this moment
I think that's a bit of the blood from this, yeah.
In a funny way, I think that bit of damage by the eye is a box tick for him as well. He can maybe give him a bit of confidence in his ability to take punishment and take punches. So going into the last 40 seconds of this one, it looks like Luke Evans is going to move to 9-0. Still looking for that elusive knockout win, but he's shown glimpses of what he's good at tonight. He's shown a few things he needs to work on as well. So all around, it might be a performance that holds him in good stead for next year.
He's, like I said at the beginning of the fight as well, he's still going to be carrying that ring rust. You know, from that amount of time out and not being able to, you know, hit the ground running after that first one with the injury and stuff. So I think it's a good test as well. The guy come to have a go, come to win. You know what I mean? He's not. See, he's coming back there every single time. He's not just something to be a pushover. Yeah,
like we said, Gunter won his first 3 fights, so then lost his following 3 fights. So there's still that ambition there that he wants to maybe get back on the winning trail himself.
Yeah, exactly.
And in terms of everything you mentioned, ring rust for the general public, is that just timing, that you need to get your timing right after a bit of time out of the ring?
Of course, and fighting's completely different to sparring. Do you know what I mean? Like you can spar rounds, but fighting is it's completely different.
Yeah. So just waiting now for Michael Pass to make it official. I'd say maybe 6 rounds to 0 for reference, or maybe a share of a round, or maybe even 5 rounds to 1, I'd say. And we'll go to Michael Pass.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing action, star referee Phil Edwards has scored the contest 60 points to 54 points for your winner. Now defeated in 9 professional contests from the Superb Scissors of Luke Evans.
So 9-0 for Luke Evans. He'll be happy with that. So 9-0, he can move on to the next one, and he can. If this is the last fight of the year for him, he's had a mixed year, but he'll be happy to close it out for that win.
He's done it now. He's back, and 2019 will be a different story for him, I think.
And just a reminder, as part of the Black Friday promotions, VIP BE boxing equipment designed by Jamie Moore have got 30% off all boxing gloves and training equipment. You just need to use the code VIPTV30 when ordering. So that's 30% off, and the equipment's been designed by Jamie Moore. And I'm sure Jamie will give us a little crafty retweet at some point tonight if we mention that to him. And now we're just waiting for Kane Gardner and Chris Adaway to make their way to the ring. That's going to be 6 frees at super lightweight, or light welterweight, as it's known to absolutely everyone in the world who still has a sense of tradition.
Contest number 4 is about to be undertaken, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes the young man. Please give him a nice warm welcome. He's travelled all the way from Plymouth down here is Chris Adaway.
And here comes Chris Adaway. Always game, Chris Adaway, and he'll be looking to test Kane tonight, there's no doubt about that. He's always in entertaining fights, has an interesting style. Well, it's certainly got the makings of a good fight, this one. Adaway making his way into the ring now. And Kane Gardner's certainly got a lot of people talking about him. So he's seen as one of the VIP guys that can go on to big things, but got to get the job done tonight over 6 rounds against the guy that's been there and done it against everyone.
And opposing Chris, here comes Sugar Kane Gardner.
And here comes Kane Gardner. Joining me on commentary for this one, James Moorcroft. And Kane's someone you know pretty well from sparring.
Yeah. I've been doing some good rounds of sparring with Kane last couple of weeks, and I can tell you now he's very much up for this fight, and he's definitely ready. He's a very, very, very good prospect coming from out of Manchester. Probably the best at his weight at the moment, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people are talking about Kane. He'll be looking to back that up again tonight. Every time we've seen him on the VIP shows, he's impressed. Chris Adaway will cause him some different problems tonight, some problems he hasn't faced before, but knowing Kane, he'll be looking to get the job done in style and impress all the fans he's brought with him.
100%. I think he's had 2 stoppings in his last 2 fights, and I think he's actually going to go out there and look for a 3rd stoppage in a row, which would be spectacular, but we'll have to see. I believe Chris Adaway is a really good fighter. I've never really watched much of him, but I'm looking forward to it, and I'm glad to be on commentary to watch this as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, contest number 4 is 6 3-minute rounds of boxing in the welterweight division. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black for the shorts, trimmed with white, and weighing he's still 10 stone 3 pounds. Tonight is his 59th professional appearance in a boxing ring, hailing a long way from Plymouth, Devon. Here is Chris Adaway. And opposing him, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the canvas for the shorts, trimmed with black, and weighing he's still 10 stone 4 pounds 3 ounces. From 6 contests, he has a very record 6 wins. 3 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Presenting from Bezekby, undefeated Sugar Kane Gardner. Time for the bell is Gary Brennan, and the referee in charge of the action is Andy Rowe from Leeds. Jets, you both know the rules. Defend yourselves at all times.
Here we go then, and like you said, James, he's coming off the back of a couple of stoppage victories, Kane. And they'll be looking to make a statement in there against a guy that usually very durable, very interesting style. It's not something you'd teach in the amateur gyms, but it's certainly effective, and Kane will have some problems to solve.
Yeah, he's got a fantastic jab, Kane. He comes in 2s and 3s with that jab. There we go, straight away.
Yeah, and he's heavy-handed as well, Kane, isn't he? You can tell.
Mate, yeah. He's big for the weight. He's a big lad.
Nice work from Kane, just settling behind that jab, like you said. The thing with fighting someone like Chris Adaway is, you know, you two have been sparring together, but he's got a style that, you know, Kane probably won't have seen in sparring.
Yeah.
It solves well, it's different problems you've got to solve in there that you've not done in the gym.
It's like a game of chess, really. It's like you've got to plan 1 step forward, take another step, 2 steps forward again. They both look like they're having a good time in there, smiling at each other as well.
Yeah, and Adaway does this. He likes to move around the ring a lot, and the key for Kane tonight just to be cutting it off like he has done there. Back Adaway up against the ropes and then land his shots.
100%, yeah. I like how he's demanding that ring, Kane. He's working it well, working it very well. He looks to start very fast as well, which is great. Oh.
You can already see that Adaway's showboating, and to be honest, that's usually a sign that he's felt something a little bit in there. Usually a sign that he's a little bit worried about what's coming, but that won't bother Kane at all.
No. Like I say, that super lightweight division's hotting up to be a fantastic division, especially locally.
Yeah, in Manchester there seems to just be more and more people floating about at that weight. They're getting towards the level where they're going to be matched with each other. I know you were looking for a big fight on your next one in December the 8th, and we'll see a lot of the prospects getting together and fighting soon, won't we?
Yeah, and I believe he's good. And like Steve said he was going to do it, and as we see, with a couple of fights already arranged for the Jolly Boys and that, and is there another fight on? Is it Colin Day? Yeah,
Tom McGuinness and Colin Day. That's in 2 weeks in Liverpool, and then the Jolly Boys, Joe Eco we saw earlier, in with Adam Ridge. All VIP fighters, and they're always great fights when the VIP lads get matched together. And I think we'll be seeing that super lightweight because there's too many floating about to not be able to match them together.
Is that 3 super lightweight fights we've just seen, including this one now? So yeah, it's turning out to be a cracking Manchester, a local area, surrounding area fights them.
Well, importantly, Kane's got to get the job done tonight, otherwise all talks about big fights go out of the window. He started really well here.
Yeah, he started really well here. There were some fantastic body shots going in there.
You could almost feel them just above us here in the commentary position. And that's as perfect of a first round as you're going to see tonight. Kane looks so comfortable behind that jab, picking his shot to the head and body. And in the corner, what do you tell him now? It's just got to be more of the same, hasn't it?
Well, I don't really know. I think Kane's coming on very strong. I don't know whether he might need to tuck up and try and come back with some sort of counter punch. But it's one of them. Kane's coming very strong, so does he ride it out, see if Kane's got the 6 rounds in him, or...
And how would you deal with a fighter like Kane? Have you got to fight fire with fire sometimes, or just as being on the road like Adaway is, just try and get out of the way of as much as you can?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I believe you just got to jab with him. Kane's strongest punch is his jab, so you'd probably have to try and take the jab away from him, kind of thing. Yes. But watching Kane tonight, he's a fantastic first round, and I'm looking forward to the next round.
Second down, round 2.
And there we go with that second round, and I think you'll struggle to see anything but the same from Kane. And already he's cut off that ring nicely. Those straight shots to the body are particularly good shots from Kane, aren't they? I remember when I saw him sparring with you, they're the shots he likes to throw a lot, and he's very successful with them.
I do like his guard as well, Kane. He's very tight with his guard.
Yeah, Adaway was just in a little bit of trouble there in the corner. He did well to smother Kane's work, and maybe that's what he's got to do, try and get up close. Because at the moment, Kane's just teeing off on him to head and body at every opportunity.
Some solid body shots going in there. I do like the body work.
Yeah, especially over 6 rounds as well. It's a long time.
They'll pay dividends in the last rounds.
Hadaway smiling away again, but you can see he's already feeling the pace. And even then when he comes on the attack, Kane's tucking up nicely. Brilliant this so far from Kane Gardner. And he's got a couple of stoppages in the last two, like we mentioned earlier, but he's certainly going to stop people as the fights go longer as well, when these body shots start to really have an effect.
Yeah, you're 100% right there, Luke. Like I said, being on the receiving end of a couple of body shots, it's exactly right. Them body shots, they might not hurt at the time, but you start getting into, like when I fought Nathan Hardy in the 8 round fights, I remember him hitting me with a low blow and I only felt it in the last round.
Hadaway in a bit of trouble then again. Just calling Kane on, I don't think that's the wisest thing to do.
Maybe it could be like what you're saying here. He starts taunting when he's actually felt a bit of power. Well, that jab's looking absolutely great tonight.
Yeah, Kane looks like he's getting stronger with every fight physically as well. Looks like there's more behind his shots than there were last time out. Lovely work to the body again. He doesn't telegraph that body shot either. He picks it so nicely. Just a sharp little shot. Doesn't put everything into it.
Yeah. Like I say, I've said it before. I'm looking at that guard now, and that's really good.
Yeah, and I think that was just the first time that Kane's loaded up behind one of those body shots, and Hadaway read that and got out of the way of it. He's pounding away at the body here, Kane.
Yeah.
I think provided he gets through this one, he's certainly ready for a step up. You had Nathan Hardy over 8 rounds, which was a tough fight. Kane's already beat him over 4, but it'd be good to see him in with someone like that over a longer distance. Get some tough rounds in the bank.
Like I say, I do like the longer rounds. I've always worked for that.
Yeah, and Kane just looks far too comfortable in there at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah,
even defensively, he's caught everything on his gloves, on his arms, taken no punishment at all. First third of this fight done, and Kane's flying ahead on the referee scorecard. There's no doubt about that.
Definitely, mate, definitely.
And for you, James, next up, 8th of December at Bolton.
8th of December, we're at the Macron Stadium. Yeah, I think it's changed its name now, but not quite sure what that is. It's changed its name 3 times in the last 3 fights. But looking forward to it. We've had a fantastic camp, me, Liam Blundell and Luke Blundell down at Blundell's Boxing. I've never felt as good, and I'm really looking forward to showing and showcasing just what I'm made of, and I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, Kane's given me some fantastic rounds for this fight, so I just can't wait to get out there now.
Round 3 of this one coming up. And you can see Kane in the corner there, he's barely even breathing.
Yeah.
You can tell he's not feeling the pace at all.
So he's looking in fantastic shape tonight as well.
Yeah, good thing from Kane's point of view is that even though he's having all the success, he hasn't got carried away with it or looked for the big shot. He's still doing the basics right.
You're exactly right there, Luke. He's catching him with them great body shots, but I think he's going to wait and maybe pounce when he sees him let go or something.
Yeah, and an uppercut landed from Kane then. I think that hurt Hadaway a little bit. He just grimaced as the right uppercut landed. He started to throw a lot more here. It's relentless pressure from Kane this as well, and that's what you have to do against someone like Chris Hadaway. When they're going backwards, they're trying to get a few seconds as a breather.
Yeah, 100%. I'm watching Hadaway here though, and he's putting some shots together. I know they might not be landing, but like I say, he's no pushover, this guy. He can put some shots together and he could really hurt you, I think. But with Kane's tight guard at the moment, I can't see much getting through there at the time.
Yeah, and I think that's been the best thing for Kane so far. Often you see fighters switch off when they're finding it so easy in the opening couple of rounds, but Kane's still bang on it in there.
Yeah, he's very well schooled. Like I say, I think Hadaway's doing a bit of mourning to the referee. He might be getting a bit tired now. Them body shots might be feeling him a little bit.
Yeah, he's just trying to look for every second break, every opportunity he can do just to break up the fight. Kane's been relentless so far.
He certainly has, mate. And like you said before, he's not even breathing yet. He's just going through the gears, and he's making a really good fight out of this. I'm loving the air as well. I'm loving the air. I asked him, is he having it like that for this fight, and he said yeah, but yeah, it's really good. They were fantastic shots going in there.
He just looks quicker, doesn't he, in there, Kane, so far, with the jab. Just loading up a little bit with that right hand.
Yeah.
That's much better with the left hook, though.
Seems like every shot he's throwing's got purpose behind it as well.
Yeah, and credit to Adaway, he has opened up a lot more in this round, and he had a bit of success with the combination there, but I think that's just riled Kane up a little bit.
Yeah, he's really got him looking for it. So he's not giving him a minute, look, Kane here. He's working that ring very well. Cutting the ring off.
Yeah, we said that before the bout started. That'll be the key for Kane tonight, and he's done that so well. Adaway's not had a second breath so far, where usually he gets that when he moves around the ring like he does.
Yeah, but like you said, with these kind of guys, they're looking, every time they're moving off, they're looking for the breath, but Kane's just not giving him the chance to take a breath. Every time he wants to take that deep breath, Kane's there again with a nice jab.
Yeah, and even when he's not throwing, he stayed in range, Kane, as well, which it makes you're still working, aren't you? Just as a little bit of blood comes from the nose of Adaway. You can hear Kane's corner just asking him to finish the round strong.
Yeah, really good round there again. Three fantastic rounds there.
Yeah, thoroughly comfortable performance this so far from Kane Gardner.
It certainly is, mate. It is.
Halfway through this one, and it's going to be a long 9 minutes. This for Chris Adaway, I think.
Yeah.
And even now, Kane's nice and relaxed in the corner. You can see he's not feeling it too much because everything's been at his own pace, and if he wants to take a breather, he can do.
Yeah.
He's certainly ready for a step up in opponent now, isn't he? Someone that's going to force the pace a little bit.
100%, mate. Yeah, and I think that's what Steve will do. Like we said before, Steve's now been putting some good fighters together, and it's great. Like I said, the main event of this card's a fantastic fight, and it's full credit to Steve for getting this fight, and full credit to both the fighters for taking this fight. I'm really looking forward to it. Liam Taylor versus Tyrone Nuss. What a finisher.
Round 4.
I know Kane's been doing a few rounds with Ryan Oliver as well. There's another guy in that division that's looking to step up soon, and Kane seems to be sparring every day. You see a picture with him with sort of a different sparring partner every other day on social media.
Oh.
Yeah, we said Kane was comfortable. I didn't realise he was that comfortable in there. Just trying to drag Adaway into a dogfight.
He just wants to get to him now, Ken. No, quality performance.
He's just trying to draw Adaway in there, wasn't he? Trying
to
throw something so he could counter. It must be frustrating when you're coming through the ranks, when you can't throw counter shots. You know, someone's just tucking up.
Well, you're exactly right there, Luke. Some of these guys, which is obviously learning fights, and without learning fights, you're never going to do anything in your life like. But I think you need a tin opener sometimes to open them up.
Yeah. And just as you were talking, I think Kane felt something. He's really gone after Chris Adaway here, chopping to the body.
Yeah, I think I might have seen an uppercut going from Kane, a right-hand uppercut, which might have stiffened the legs of Adaway a little bit.
And after an almost jovial start to the round, he's really stepped the tempo up here.
Yeah, definitely. I think Kane might have gone southpaw a bit then, Kane. He's proper turning it on now.
And he's certainly been sent out by his corner to get a stoppage here. You can see the intent that he's come out with.
Chris Adaway is still smiling, but I think he might be sore in the morning.
Lovely work again from Kane.
Yeah. I like that pivot Kane's doing there. Fantastic pivot.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was deserving of a warning from the referee.
I think he might have called him as a low. I don't think it was low.
Yeah, and there's certainly been a change in tempo in this round.
So he's looking super fit here, Kane. He's never took his foot off the gas yet. But yeah, full credit to Adaway. He's took some big shots in here tonight, and he's still there, and he's still coming back with a couple himself.
Yeah, he certainly earned his money tonight anyway. Don't think we'd have expected that. It's a lovely right hand over the top from Kane. He's really unloading here. The referee's having a little look at this one. There's not a lot coming back from Chris Adaway now.
I've not really seen much of Chris Adaway. I don't know what his record, what his stoppage ratio is like, but I think if Kane could keep pushing on here, I think he could get it, potentially get him out.
Yeah, he's only been stopped 5 times in the 46 defeats that he's had so far. But the referee was really having a look at that, you know. There's nothing coming back from Adelaide. And Kane just needs to put a big combination together.
That right hook's really been effective today, I think. Another great round from Kane. Another great round.
Yeah, and I'm certain Kane will come almost like a bull to a red flag in the next round and really try and force that stoppage. Because once you get into the last round, these journeymen can see the finish line. And your job becomes a hell of a lot harder. But this 5th, Kane will really put it on him. And it would not surprise me at all if you see the referee stop this. You see him in the corner now. He's just staring at Chris Adaway, the referee, because he's breathing heavy. He's struggling in there. And sometimes you don't have to get knocked down for the referee to stop it, or particularly hurt. It's just a sustained beating, and that's what it's been tonight.
Yeah, you're definitely right there, Luke. You're right about the referee, mate, as well. He's having a really good look at this. He's for a full minute now. He's not stopped looking at him.
It's a bit scary, that.
Yeah, it is.
Second out, round 5.
Here we go, round 5 then, and Kane straight on the front foot. And I think you can sense that Adaway knew the referee was having a look. He just threw a little combination there to start the round.
Just to let the referee know he's still there.
And Chris Adaway will be very thankful. That bit of tape coming loose on Kane's glove. A nice few seconds respite for him.
Yeah.
It's a little bonus. George Schofield in that corner. I think he's at pretty much every show that there's ever been.
He's a good lad.
Does a great job in those corners.
Yeah,
and the respite wasn't too long for Chris Adaway. Kane's come straight out again on the front foot. Lovely work to the body again from Kane, and I think those body shots early on have just started to have an effect.
Yeah, definitely, mate, yeah.
Adaway's just slowed down a touch. You can see his reactions aren't quite there. Corner calling for Kane to go southpaw, mix it up.
I've got to give it to Adaway. He's took some serious body shots in this fight, and
yeah, it's one of them. He'll certainly know he's been in the fight in the morning.
Them are great shots from Kane there.
And the referee's really having a look at this. And it's all over.
He's whacked it off. Fantastic.
And it's like we said, it's one of them. What a performance that is from Kane Gardner, from a man that rarely ever gets stopped. It's all over for Chris Adaway. What a performance that is from Kane, and what a statement that is.
Yeah, what a great performance.
Sustained beating over 5 rounds, and Adaway's protesting in that corner, but...
No, you're exactly right, Luke. It was like the disdained pressure, like you said. He's come for... it was 5 rounds, solid pressure. He's looking after the boxer there, and
that's what you see. You'd rather it too early than too late, wouldn't you? And
definitely, mate, definitely. Fair play to the referee, though. Got to give it to him on that one.
And what a statement that is for Kane Gardner.
3 out of 3 stoppages. That's an hat-trick.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, he's really become a puncher in this weight division. You know, his first 4, he only got 1 stoppage in there. He was boxing the likes of Christian Lake and Yusuf Alamidi, though. What a statement that is for Kane Gardner. Here's the MC, Michael Pass.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 1 minute and 5 seconds of round number 5, referee Andy Brooke has stopped the contest in his opinion. Chris Adaway was in no position to continue, therefore your winner, now undefeated in 7 professional contests, Bennett's very own Kane Gardner. A ride at last and a fine effort, as always, from Chris Adaway. We wish him a safe journey home, all the hundreds of miles to Plymouth, Devon.
He doesn't look too happy there, Chris Adaway.
No, and he wouldn't be with that stoppage. If you were in his corner, you wouldn't be too happy with it, but one thing's for sure, I know Kane is. And next up, Muhammad Ali and Danny Little. That has the potential to be a great fight. Danny Little always comes to win. And after that, Bradley Ray is in with Vidas Balkauskas. I think that's how we're going to say it tonight.
Well, I don't want to pronounce that.
Another tough test this for Brad, and he's had a few heads turning so far on his debut. Looking to make a statement tonight. And then the main event of the evening, Liam Taylor and Tyrone Nurse.
Thank you very much, Luke. I'll see you soon, mate.
See you on December the 8th.
Thank you.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali's been impressive so far on his debut. We're looking to build on that tonight. He's got big support in here. And Danny Little's not an easy test for him. And we'll see how he gets on very shortly. Referee Jamie Kirkpatrick getting in the ring, ready for this one. And one thing's for certain, Danny Little's going to come and have a go tonight.
Yeah, it will be. It's an interesting one. So it's going to be an interesting one. Danny Little coming off a goal. We all know Muhammad Ali's story. He campaigned to get a professional license despite having diabetes and was successful. So he had his pro debut recently.
Here comes from Driffield, the regular visitors to these parks, legal Danny Little.
So Danny Little makes his way to the ring, calls himself lethal. He's got a serious look in his face as well, so hopefully he'll have coming off a goal and we can find out a bit more about Muhammad Ali. As I say, he's only had the one fight, his debut fight, 1-on-4 against Andre Sepa. Didn't really tell us much about him, so hopefully we'll find out more in this particular fight about what Muhammad Ali's got in terms of his potential going forward.
And from Rochdale, here comes Muhammad Ali.
So as we say, second fight Muhammad Ali. He's got a great story as well. I was just telling people about what you're expecting to see from him tonight, Luke.
He looked very accomplished fighter. Alex Matvienko in his corner. He looked big, he looked strong and solid on his debut. And now those debut nerves are out the way, I'm expecting a big performance from him today. Got big support, and obviously he's got an amazing story, being the first professional boxer to have diabetes. So the journey continues tonight, and I'm sure he'll be looking to make a statement against a man that's very tough in Danny Little.
And if I recall, he slowed down a bit in the last round of his debut performance, so hopefully that's something we won't see tonight. He'll be on full pace throughout the 4 rounds.
Yeah, and there's a lot of media attention around him as well, isn't there?
Yeah, a lot of people applied for press passes tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching via VIPboxing.tv and Only Full Fights, brought to us by Facebook. 4 3-minute rounds of boxing in the middleweight division this contest. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black leather shorts trimmed with silver, and weighing his scale 10 stone, 13 pounds, 8 ounces. Tonight is his 59th professional appearance. Presenting from Driffield, here is legal Danny Little. And opposing him, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the white blood shorts trimmed with gold. And black, at the weighing scale, 11 stone, 3 pounds. From one contest, he has 1 win. Presenting from Rochdale, Muhammad. Time for once more, referee Jamie Kirkpatrick from Preston for 3-minute rounds.
And just a reminder tonight, as part of the Black Friday promotions, VIP BE boxing equipment designed by Jamie Moore. You can get 30% off all the boxing gloves and training equipment as long as you use the code VIPTV30 when making your order. We'll be highlighting that all night for you, and also we'll try and put a tweet out before we finish tonight. So again, Muhammad Ali comes out. As you said last time, he looked quite an accomplished fighter. He faded a little bit in the last round of his last fight, so it'll be interesting to see if he cranks it up for the 4th round in this one.
Yeah, he'll certainly be looking to put that right tonight, because it was a great 3 rounds, wasn't it, on his debut? Like we mentioned earlier when Adam Farrell made his debut, that's often the case.
Yeah, so that's something that we can look for in terms of his progression tonight. His opponent Danny Little, 7 wins, 49 losses, 2 draws. Out of his 7 wins, 1 of them was come by knockout. He looks like he had his game face on when he walked into the ring tonight as well, Danny.
Yeah, he's certainly one of these guys that test you, and if you're not on top of your game, you'll get found out against a guy like Danny Little. So while he's going to have to be good, and he started really well, picking his shots nicely. Got a really strong jab.
And Danny picked up a little bit of form around about this time last year. He got a couple of wins. In the December of last year, he beat Jordan Clayton in 5 rounds, and then in February of this year, he beat Tony Mills over 6, decision win. And after that, it's been a steady sequence of defeats. But that little brace of wins shows that he can pop up with a result every now and then.
Yeah, 100%, and he's not just going to roll over and let you win. And that's one thing about Danny Little. He's always been one of these guys that does come in there to win. You know, and Ali training at the elite gym with Alex Matvienko. Good sparring there with Jack Flatley. He'll be learning a lot from Jack every day in the gym.
Yeah, and he can get a bit of advice off Alex as well. He was a decent pro, came through these type of shows as well. Alex Matvienko, the one-man riot. So he'll be learning a lot of stuff in the gym. Muhammad Ali, and hopefully he'll be bringing that into the fights.
A lovely left hook to the body. Pick there from Ali.
Yeah, that's kind of been the punch of the night tonight. We've seen a lot of left hooks to the body going in, a lot of good body work. Luke Evans looked particularly effective when he was throwing that shot. Less effective when he decided not to use it.
Yeah. Been a decent opening couple of minutes this though. Nothing spectacular, but he's certainly winning the round.
Yeah, Little had his game face coming to the ring, but he's been a bit subdued. He's got the incredible Hulk tattooed on his back, as well as Deadpool as well, so we'll be hoping for a marvellous performance.
It's only a matter of time before one of them got thrown in.
Yeah, we had to slip the odd one through. I was like a fighter who saw the opportunity and just took it.
And you can see Danny Little's already reddened a little bit on the right hand side of his body where that left hook's landing.
And he's concentrating on what he's doing, Ali, as well. As you say, he's working his way around with that left hook to the body. And he's a solid looking unit as well.
Yeah, and without looking spectacular, he certainly got the job done in this opening round. And any nerves he had getting into the ring will certainly be out of the way now. Lovely work to the body again.
Yeah, and he doubled up the body attack that time, a left hook and a right hook to the body, so that's a decent first round for him. I imagine Alex Matvienko will be asking for more of the same after that round as well, and telling him to keep his powder dry a little bit for the 4th round as well.
Yeah, people don't realise the 4 3-minute rounds, it is a long time to be in there, and you've got to have a very high fitness level to even be able to do the 4 3-minute rounds. You know, especially with all the nervous energy you have on your debut as well.
Yeah, you always want to avoid the risk of dropping around as well, maybe having a drawn round and having to chase it, so it's a good high-octave start there for Marley, and hopefully he keeps it up for the remainder of the fight.
He looks nice and calm in that corner anyway.
And Danny Little's remained on his feet between rounds. We've seen that a couple of times tonight. I'm not a big fan of it, I can't see the upside to it, but George Foreman used it to great effect, so maybe there's something to it.
Yeah, what do we know?
Yeah, very little, I'd say.
You can see the doctors in the corner of Muhammad Ali, and they have to check his blood sugar levels every round, don't they? You know, he's the first guy to ever have to do this, and you know, so far it's not caused him any problems. And you just hope that doesn't cause him issues going forward.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if it did. Obviously the board have got very stringent medical provisions, so it's nice to see that they're taking it as seriously as everyone else in terms of the health of the fighter. And as you say, it's just a precautionary thing, just to make sure that everything's as it should be. And as you say, he created a big stir. Muhammad Ali turning professional. The first person with diabetes to do it. Sky Sports have taken an interest. I believe we had 13 press applications just to watch him tonight, so he's obviously got quite a lot of support in his corner.
Yeah, and in a strange sort of way, it could be the making of him as a fighter, you know, but it makes him stand out among the hundreds and thousands even of prospects we have up and down the country boxing every week. He's got a different story.
Yeah, and the publicity, especially for some a corporation like Sky, is a huge bonus for a fighter. It can take fighters almost their entire career to reach the level where they're getting mentioned by Sky Sports or being featured on there. So, as you say, it's a big thing for him, and it'll certainly help him progress because he'll sell tickets and generate interest, and there'll always be a spot for him on shows.
Yeah, and he plays his part for the charity as well, which is always good to see. It really promotes how people can become professional sportsmen, and he's proved that in there tonight, and it's been a good second round this so far.
Yeah, and in terms of what he's been through outside the ring, nothing that can happen to him inside the ring. He's going to face him as such in the slices, especially at this particular level. So he'll keep on racking up the wins, and as you say, the interesting thing will be when the rounds develop and his career develops, how far he can go.
Yeah, just as you were talking there, he landed a straight right hand to the body. It's probably his best shot of the bout so far. He picked that really nicely, straight down the middle. You know, and throughout the night, you've mentioned it before, the body punching's been key to everyone's success.
Yeah, and it's great to see. Obviously, the cliche is that the jab is a building block of boxing, but body punching as well is a good way of just getting yourself some dividends further down the line when the opponent's taken enough body shots for you to soften them up and try and take them away, or just take away their momentum. So it's nice to see that a lot of fighters up and down the country are still practicing the art of body punching, because there is a real art to it, and it's something that you do put yourself at risk when throwing shots to the body, because you can expose the head. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, and we mention it quite a lot, don't we? But when these guys step up over the longer distance, they'll really start to have more of an effect than they do now.
Yeah, we were talking previously with Danny that when the fighters go over the 10-round distance and start looking towards title fights, they need to start to be able to manage, game management, and how to read the fight and develop your ability to think your way through a fight rather than just going in there and throwing punches for 4 rounds, knowing that you've got a short distance to cover.
Another round in the bank.
Yeah, that's 2-0 for Ali. The pace has not been as high as it was in his debut, but maybe that's something he's learned from his debut, how to pace himself a little bit better. So we might see a steady pace and a stronger 4th round than he produced last time.
Yeah, and it was certainly a better round, that second one, than the first, wasn't it? He landed his shots, the crisp shots, a little bit busier as well. You know, you'd like to see him step it up again now, going into the second half of the fight. Now he's got that energy in the tank.
Yeah, he might do more of the same in round 3, then step up in round 4, knowing that the final bell is coming ever closer. But again, they're just checking on him between rounds to make sure that everything's as it should be.
10 seconds, corners.
Yeah, and Alex Matvienko in the corner. He's one of those underrated trainers, isn't he, on the scene at the moment, that does a great job with the lads he has.
Yeah, as you say, he's got a lot of fighters as well, and the fighters will all bounce off each other. People forget that Alex, he was known as a one-man riot, and he'd like to have a bit of a fight, but he could also box as well. It's just that he'd start off boxing, then get clipped on the chin and decide to go to World War III option.
Yeah, I've been in the gym a couple of times, and you can tell he really understands the game. He knows everything there is to know.
Yeah, he's got a good boxing brain. He's really close with Jamie Moore and Nigel Trafford, who are riding high at the moment as well. There's a lot of camaraderie. I've shared a fan home from a fight with those 3 characters, and I can tell you it was an interesting journey home. So it's good that they're all kind of bouncing off each other. The fighters are not just pushing each other on in the local area. The trainers as well are all bouncing off each other and pushing each other forward. My only gripe about Alex Matvienko is if I gave him a negative fight review back in the day, he'd ask me if I was drunk or I'd been drinking cough medicine before the fight, and I always assured him that wasn't the case. It was purely professional. But again, it just showed that he cared. Even back then, he cared. Small-time boxing writer was saying he needed to do X, Y, and Z. He'd have a look and accuse him of being drunk, but maybe go away and have a little think about his performances. And I'm sure he's like that as a trainer as well. He's a very analytical guy, Alex.
But just as you were talking there, Danny Little just opened up a little bit. You know, threw a few shots of his own. We saw in the last one with Kane Gardner and Chris Adaway. Adaway got stopped purely because he wasn't throwing enough, and the referee wasn't happy with that. And Danny Little's just letting the referee know that he's comfortable in there at the moment.
Yeah, and Adaway had a bit of a shouting match. He really disagreed with the stopping. He went over to Andy Whittle, the great boxing news scribe who covers more shows than I've had at meals. He went over to Andy and had a bit of a shout and a bit of asking whether the other board officials could have stepped in and overruled the referee, but as we know, the referee makes the decision, and that's that. And 9 times out of 10, I mean, there are premature stoppages that we've seen in British boxing rings, but a lot of the time the referee gives the fighter referee opportunity to prove that they can fight on. And if the fighter doesn't take that opportunity, then the fight gets stopped and they have a bit of a shouting match and see if they can generate interest in a return if the fight's big enough.
Just stepping up Ali in here now. And like you said, I think he did save a little bit in the opening couple.
And Little may have this round felt a bit of a dip in the pace of Ali in the first minute of the round and maybe steps up himself, but as you say, Ali is completely taken over as you would expect.
Nice left hook to the body landing.
And it's good that he's trying doubling up with the hooks to the body as well there. Although takes a couple of shots to the head himself in that exchange.
Yeah, so far it's just been one of those performances. It's not setting the world on fire, but he's certainly getting the job done in there.
Yeah, and he'll be delighted with that. He should move to 2-0 after this fight. He might be hoping to maybe score knockouts as the fight progresses, but at the minute, every second that Ali is in the ring is a victory for him.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's played into his hands a little bit that Danny had a bit more ambition in that third session.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want someone to open up a little bit, come at you and see if they can try and take a bit of the steam away from you.
Yeah, and when you talk to any prospect, they do prefer fighters that come and throw shots at you. It leaves openings, and Danny left a few openings then when he threw.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if Ali can come and build on that in the next round. As I say, I'm really looking forward to this fourth round to see if his pace is good in this fourth round. If he has a quiet fourth round again for the second fight in succession, that would be something people would look out for. Just want to mention as well, I don't know if anyone noticed, but Ali went to the same high school as the legendary, respected and award-winning journalist Sheldon Kay. So I don't know what they're putting in the tap water at that school, or they're knocking a couple of books out that the rest of us are not getting, but I might have to go back to that school myself and see if I can become an award-winning boxing, whatever I am at this moment in time.
No prizes for guessing who asked you to mention that.
Yeah, that was John Evans, that one. It definitely wasn't Sheldon himself.
Here we go then, the fourth and final round of this one, and I seem to be saying it a lot tonight, but bar anything dramatic, Ali's just cruising in there at the moment. That one was a little bit low.
Yeah, we've strayed a little below there, the referee didn't pick up on it.
It's all about just closing this one out now, isn't it? Fights like Danny Little, you're not going to just stop him with one shot. And a few low shots again from both men. Little warning from the referee. He's really targeting the left-hand side of Danny Little's body now, isn't he? That right hook.
And Little's just put his hand there as well, as if to gesture that he's feeling a little bit of pain there.
And the tempo certainly stepped up now. In his debut it dipped. He certainly saved, like you said, and he's looked really sharp in this final round.
And at this point I should say I got a little bit of a telling off by the referee when I first came into the venue, because I said that he looks a bit like Mills Lane. I should have said he looks like a very young, very handsome version of Mills Lane, but I don't think he was happy with that, so let's just say he's a fine figure of a man who's doing a great job in this fight and all that he officiates. It's getting a bit messy as well in this round, it'll be good to see how Ali figures his way through that. He just got clipped with a shot as well.
Yeah, they've been drawn into a little bit of a war in the final round here, and neither man wants to take a back step. And whereas in the first couple, Danny Little was just happy to tuck up. I think he must have sensed something in there, because he's got a little bit of ambition now.
Yeah, and obviously we're outside the ring. We don't know 100% what's going on inside the ring, but as you say, for an opponent starts stepping up a little bit, he sensed something in terms of his opponent, maybe a weakness or something he can exploit. So Ali's just the pace has dropped again in this fourth round. He had a very good start to the round, so it'll be interesting to see what he does for this final minute, if he carries on working the body or just maybe boxes behind the jab and closes this one down.
Yeah, and he's certainly got the first 3 rounds in the bank. He'll be looking to close this one out now as we enter the final minute.
A bit of a wrestle there as well, but the referee stepped in to sort that out.
It's been a decent performance this from Ali, hasn't it? Like I said before, it's been nothing special, but he's certainly got the job done.
Yeah, he's not set the world alight. He's just, as you say, been methodical, workmanlike, got the job done, moved into 2-0 by the look of it, and I reckon he's got all 4 rounds in the bank in this one. Again, Little just gets a bit rough, but fighters it's a rough profession, so you have to kind of figure it out yourself sometimes in there. At some point in your career you might get a referee who's not going to break you have the opportunity, so you have to kind of work out how to fight inside and how to work away inside.
Yeah, and the referees in the Northwest tend to let you work on the inside, don't they?
Yeah, and that's a good thing, as I say, unless it becomes ridiculously excessive in terms of the clinching. You just give the fighters an opportunity to sort it out themselves.
Well, there we have it then. And Ali was just having a little word with the referee there. I'm not sure what about. He seemed unhappy about something.
Yeah, I think he was saying that Little was holding him, but like I say, that's for Ali to figure it out. He's in there. He's got one advantage over the referee in that he can punch his opponent, so that's one way of levelling the playing field. And just as we wait for the score to come in, just remember, if you want to get some boxing equipment, VIP boxing equipment designed by Jamie Moore, 30% off all boxing gloves and training equipment with the code VIPTV30, and that takes you right through and including the Black Friday. So don't be thinking of buying a dishwasher or any nonsense off Amazon. Get yourself an epi bag and some boxing gloves and take your frustration out on those, or maybe give it a bash and go to a gym once you've done a bit of training around the house.
Yeah, and you never know, one day we might see you in the ring here.
Yeah, you never know. We'll be plugging that 30% throughout the night as well. So any budding boxers out there, boxing equipment isn't always the cheapest stuff you can buy, so get on that as soon as possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds of middleweight action, referee Jamie Kirkpatrick has scored the contest 40 points to 36 points for your winner. Now defeated in 2 professional contests, hailing from Rochdale.
So that's expected routine win there for Ali, who's still demonstrating a little bit with the referee, but I suppose it shows he's got passion as well.
Yeah, just as we expected. Shutout win. The second one of his career in his 2 professional fights. He'll be pretty happy with that one. Still 2 fights to go tonight on a packed card of boxing here, live on VIPboxing.tv and various other platforms. And next up, Bradley Ray, also having his second professional fight tonight. He's in with Vidas Baikauskas.
That's close enough for me. We'll just call him Vidas. Hopefully he's not Darth Vidas. He's not going to come here and create a few Star Wars and upset the apple cart. But Brad Rio, I'm looking forward to seeing him. As I say, second fight for him. Should be decent to see what he's learned from his first fight and any changes he makes, or if he just does more of the same.
Yeah, and the Stingray will be looking to make a statement tonight. There's no doubt about that. And then the main event of the evening, we're getting closer to it. Liam Taylor and Tyrone Nurse in what can only be a great fight. The 2 styles matched last time and produced a great fight. And they're going to be at it again over 10 rounds here at the Victoria Warehouse.
And people at ringside are looking forward to the main event. I've spoken to a few people. There's mixed opinions about how it's going to pan out, but the consensus seems to be that Nurse really needs this tonight if he's going to get his career back on track.
Yeah, and people forget he's coming off a couple of defeats now in a row, isn't he? So it is a bit of a make or break night for him, because you struggle to see where Tyrone Nurse goes if he is to lose tonight. Whereas for Liam Taylor, of course there's a route. He's only ever lost to one man, and that's the man that's standing in the opposite corner to him tonight.
Yeah, so there's a lot of storylines going into the main event. As we were saying to Steve earlier tonight, a few years ago, this would have been a Friday night fight back in the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is already our penultimate contest of the evening. A quite truncated card for us this evening. Please welcome our next contestant. Here comes Vidas Baikauskas.
And here comes Bradley Ray's opponent for the evening. And he's another man that always comes to win as well. I seem to be saying that about every fighter tonight, but every bout's been really well matched so far.
Yeah, he's won 3, lost 15 out of his 3 wins. 2 of them have come by KO. So like you say, he might come tonight hoping to spring a little upset, make a name for himself and get invited back onto further shows if he does a good performance.
And don't forget, our next show from Liverpool is November the 30th, a Friday night. A change for us rather than Saturday. And next into the ring, a local man from Stratford. Here is Bradley Ray.
Yeah, Brad sells a lot of tickets. He's got big support. He had a glittering amateur career, countless number of domestic and national titles that he racked up. He turned pro looking to make a statement. Looked good on his debut, but there's plenty more to come from the Stingray.
Yeah, like you say, he's got good support. That's nice to see. Muhammad Ali's got good support as well. The nice thing about Muhammad Ali's support, there's a couple of children that come to his fights, and it's good to see a few kids in the crowd as well.
Yeah, and you can hear it in here. Probably the loudest reception of the night so far. This one for Brad. And talking to him earlier, he really does want to make a statement tonight. You know, look good and steal the show on what is a fantastic night of boxing.
As stated on a previous occasion, this is your penultimate contest of the evening, brought to us by VIP Promotions, VIPboxing.tv, and Only Full Fights via Facebook, and the Solon Brothers are welcoming you also from Germany. This contest is for 3-minute rounds of boxing in the light heavyweight division. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black colored shorts at the weight he scale 12 stone, 3 pounds 4 ounces. Tonight is his 19th professional appearance. He hails from Panavitis, Lithuania, presenting Vidas Borkiokskas. And opposing him, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the blue colour shorts, trimmed with the spangled gold and white. At the weight he scale 12 stone exactly. From one contest he has one win, presenting from Stratford, Bradley Ray. Time crew the bell is Gary Grennan, referee Andy Brewer from Leeds for 3-minute rounds.
So as this one gets underway, I just spotted the ringside photographer getting another ringside photographer to take a photograph of him at ringside on a mobile phone. It was like some kind of optical illusion there.
Like the Matrix.
Yeah, like the Matrix, or the cover of Ummagumma, the classic Pink Floyd album. I'll have to get a photograph of myself at ringside writing a report at some point, I think.
Here we go then, a big night this for Bradley Ray.
Yeah, and as you say, the biggest support we've seen of the night so far as well, so we clearly shifted quite a few tickets and will continue to do so as long as he continues winning and putting on performances that his fans enjoy.
Oh, lovely right hand over the top from Ray, straight away. And you can tell his opponent hurt that, and Ray's really going for it early on.
Yeah, as you say, he saw his opponent then jumped on him. It could be an early night this one if that's the way things are going to pan out.
Really good that from Ray, just to settle down as well. He didn't punch himself out like you see some fighters do.
No, he had a look, didn't he, and picked his shots well. Feidas actually won his first 3 fights against their nondescript opponents. His second fight was in the nightclub Oasi in Lithuania. We always see fights in nightclubs. Then a place called the Cafe Luna where he had his 3rd win, and after that he just started to lose fights. But he's generally quite durable, so it'll be interesting to see if he can be taken out of there tonight.
I tell you what, Ray started really sharply in there so far. A lovely left hook to the body and then a right hand to follow it.
And in his last 9 fights, he's only been taken out by Jimmy Kelly, so that was a TKO for 5 rounds, so it'll be interesting to see if Stingray can do that tonight.
Yeah, and already the referee's having a little bit of a look at this. He's been relentless so far from Ray, and he's picking those body shots so nicely as well.
And while we're here as well, we'll give a big shout out to anyone who's out there in Germany watching through Sauerland Promotions website. Sprechen Sie Deutsch, the universal language of boxing. I'm sure you're having an absolutely awesome time and looking forward to the main event.
Tell you what, those shots to the body are just landing at will now for Ray.
Yeah, and his opponent's cowering a little bit under the force of those shots. As you say, the referee's having a good look. A couple of sustained attacks, and we could see the referee jump in and stop this one.
Yeah, and he's really struggling there. Feidas, you can see it, and Ray's really unloading here, and the referee's having a look at this.
Yeah, you can see it in Feidas' eyes. He's just shipping punishment as well. Not all of the shots are clean, but the referee's looking and he's seeing one guy being pummeled on the ropes and not actually throwing anything back.
Yeah, and Ray told me before this one he wanted to make a statement and get a stoppage, and he's certainly on his way to that if he continues this way. 40 seconds left of the opening round, and obviously dominant performance so far. He's not getting carried away behind his work either. He's picking his shots nicely.
Yeah, we should say it's kind of boom and bust. He'll fire a few shots, have a look at what's developing, and if nothing's developing, it's not going to waste any punches needlessly.
Yeah, and this has been dominant first round. I don't think Ray's took a shot yet. He's landing with everything that he's throwing as well. Looks sharp defensively.
Yeah, and Stingray's got CBD sponsoring him on his shots. His opponent might need some of that at the end of the night if it carries on like this for the next couple of rounds.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Luke Evans described his performance on his debut as punch perfect, and I think you go as far to say as that opening round was.
Yeah, like you said, he hurt his opponent. He wasn't wasteful with his shots. Gave the crowd plenty to get excited about. Gave the people watching at home plenty to get excited about as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he approaches the next round after such a dominant and successful first round.
Yeah, and he looks so good when he's just calm, relaxed, throwing his shots, picking his shots nicely, and that's where he had his success then. When he loaded up, you know, he kind of gave Feidas a bit too much of an indication of what was coming, but when he took his time and just placed his shots, that's when he had his success.
Yeah, when you load up, you can be a bit too easy to read. So, like you say, when he was more relaxed, placed his shots, he had a lot more success. And hopefully, he'll come and do that out again in this next round.
10 seconds, corners.
And while we're talking, the referee's looking intently in the opposing corner as well for signs of distress, maybe.
Yeah, and he did exactly the same thing before he stopped Chris Hadaway against Kane Gardner. He had a really long look at that one, and he has done there because Brad was dominant in that first round. He'll be looking for more of the same here.
And he's so young as well, only 20 years of age. He's got so much to learn and so much talent that he can develop as well in the gym.
Yeah, he had the opportunity to stay as an amateur and try and chase, major titles, but he felt like it was his time to turn professional, and he's certainly been justified in that so far. Lovely work again from Brad.
Yeah, Faidas tried throwing a few shots, but he's just getting countered whenever he tries to flow. It's a losing game for him, this one.
Yeah, Brad just turned into southpaw a moment ago and landed that right up to the body. Lovely work again, and these body shots are certainly going to have an effect at some point. Really crunching them in with both hands. And you can see Vidas is already breathing heavily.
Yeah, like you say, he's looking distressed as well. When he is under pressure, he's really feeling it. You can take one look into his eyes and you can see that he's taken some serious shots in that first round and continues to take them in the second round. And at some point, the referee has to ask himself, is there any point of it continuing? Sometimes the crowd want a definitive conclusion, but if someone's just being continuously beaten up, the ref might just step in at a point that looks strange to the observer, but the referee's got a justification for making that call.
Yeah, and it's always better to see a stoppage too early than too late, isn't it? We say that many times.
Yeah, and sometimes you can see them coming. I know a lot of people dispute the stoppage of Carl Thotch over George Groves in that first fight, but you could see George Groves was starting to unravel. Thotch may have finished it definitively if the stoppage hadn't come, but the stoppage itself created the narrative of a rematch, so sometimes the stoppage can prove beneficial to the fighter at certain levels.
A lovely left hook to the body from Brad again. Coming towards the end of the second round. Been a better round this for Vidas. He's not been under as much pressure as he was in the first, but there's no doubt about who's won it.
Yeah, he's not at those moments where you kind of the crowd are off the feet thinking that he's going to be stopped. It's been more of a steady performance by Ray in this round.
Really good round again from Ray. Certainly two in the bank. He's been dominant throughout.
And Faidas is 31 now, which is young it's certainly younger than me, but in boxing terms, having some of the fights he's had, it's an aging sport at the best of times, especially when you're an opponent and you're being punished pretty much week in and week out.
Just want to start picking his shots again, Brad, doesn't he, like he did in the opener?
Yeah, like you say, when he picked his shots, he landed much more cleanly and effectively, so hopefully when he goes back to the corner, they'll tell him to do more of the same that he did in the first round to get back on that trail.
Nice left hook to the head.
Yeah, you could feel the impact of that shot. You could hear it at ringside as well.
Hey, he's looked really heavy-handed so far, Ray, as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Like I say, you can actually hear the impact of the punches. You can hear them thudding home as well, so the second round wasn't as impressive as his first round, but he's still got a lot to build on and a lot that he can do in the third and fourth round as well.
Yeah, and it wasn't as good as the first round, but Vidas is certainly struggling. The referee's come over to the corner and just told him he's got to throw more shots.
Yeah, and that's fair enough for him to tell him he can't just carry on being picked off the way he has done in the first and second round. Ultimately, you have to ask what benefit it has for him. He's not going to win the fight, so if he's being picked off, then it's not really good for him. It's not good for the audience as well. So the referee might look at jumping in this round if he's in trouble at any point.
Yeah, and the referee just having that customary look at the blue corner like he has so many times tonight.
Round 3.
Brad just giving a little smile and raising his eyebrows at us at the start of that round. He's comfortable in there, you can see that.
Yeah, he looks happy with what he's done so far. The brightest thing about his opponent so far has been his socks, which are fluorescent green of some variety. So, like you say, Faidas needs to actually do something this round, not just tuck up and hope for the best and hope to see it through.
And it might play into Brad's hands as well. If Vidas starts throwing, there'll be more openings for him to capitalise on.
Yeah, Brad can start picking his shots if that's the case and throwing them with more purpose and more intent.
A lovely hook to the body again from Brad.
And again, right up to the body as well along the ropes. He's just beating his man up now.
Yeah, Ryan Oliver just texted me during the break of that last round. He said Brad's got to stay on his chest, and that's where he's had his success, isn't it? When he closes the distance, lands to the body, just like he is now.
Yeah, he knows he's got this one in the bag, so it's a case where he can actually close it out with a stoppage. The ingredients are there for the stoppage. He just needs to pull everything together and get it done. And it'll be nice for his fans as well, because you may hear people watching at home may hear the roars of the crowd every time he lands a good punch and a good combination. It shows that he's well supported. And a stoppage, I reckon, would raise the roof if he gets it.
A lovely right hand to the body landed as you were talking then, and you can see Vidas is reddened up so much around the body already. And Brad's just pounding that body in there so far.
And Vidas tried throwing his own left hook there as well and got countered, so the more he tries to open up, the more, as you say, he's going to be countered and maybe taken out.
And Ray certainly got a sting about him tonight.
Slight dip in this second minute of the round, but maybe Ray's just thinking about the last minute of the round and pumping everything into that one. Bit of a low blow, Vidas complains, but the referee has told him to just carry on. And in the midst of that, Ray landed a little bit of a left uppercut to the belly, which is a rare punch for the fighter to pull off, and quite a damaging punch if you know how to do it.
Yeah, and you can see Blaine Lewis and Mike Jackson in Brad's corner calling him forward. They want him to throw more of those body shots that he's landed with.
Blood from the nose of Vidas as well. Vidas has landed a couple of shots this round, but it's just in many ways made Ray have a more dominant round than we've seen in the previous two, because he can counter those shots and this opening that's there for him to build on.
Yeah, and we mentioned that it might actually create some more success for Ray if Vidas does open up, and it certainly has been towards the end of this third round. A lovely right hand over the top. The referee's having a look at this again.
Yeah, Vidas is looking very tired, very faded. Ray is turning southpaw there to try a few more openings. But that's probably his best round of the fight. Even though he took a couple of shots, he took the shots in order to land his own and was taking a few more risks there, and it paid off in terms of the dominance of the round.
Yeah, and in that corner, Vidas looks so demoralised. I think he's run out of ideas already, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he's, like you say, he's demoralised. He's taking a pounding, and he probably just wants to try and see the fourth round through. If he gets stopped in the fourth round, it'll be a miserable night for him.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll be on full-on survival mode in this last session. And Brad's just got to keep picking his punches.
The referee telling him to touch gloves, so I think the referee was happy with what he saw from Vidas in that last round. He took a beating, but he tried to throw a couple of shots himself.
10 seconds, corners.
Photographers once again taking photos of each other at ringside. It's all getting very meta.
Seconds out for the fourth and final round.
Oh, you can see Vidas is struggling there, isn't he?
Yeah, if someone's struggling to get off the stool, you know it's not. The only time you want someone to struggle to get off the stool is at the end of the night of drinking at the bar, really. You don't want it to be in a professional boxing ring. So it's going to be a big 3 minutes this for both fighters. Vidas is just going to want to see it through, and Ray is going to want to really try and underline his dominance with a stoppage that he should, by all rights, be able to take.
A lovely right hand straight down the middle from Ray. You know, a lot of people talk about him as being a really top prospect for the future and one that's going to go far in the game, and he's certainly showing tonight why.
Yeah, he's got a lot of tools at his disposal. We've seen him switch southpaw a couple of times as well, with mixed success, which is another thing that he can use in the big fights where he's really going into round 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 and you're running out of ideas and need to freshen things up a little bit. Again, Vidas is throwing a few more shots this round, but then he's just being countered at will when the shots don't land. Yeah,
he's looked quite sharp defensively as well in there, Ray. He's not got carried away with the early success that he had.
No, he's remained calm and focused. Sometimes if a fighter has early success, like you say, they can go absolutely gung-go and punch themselves out a little bit. They throw everything but the kitchen sink at the situation, whereas Ray has just kind of systematically broken his man down.
Yeah, a minute and a half left of this round. A lovely left hook landed from Ray again.
And as we say, plenty of time for him to pull the trigger on a few more of those right hands as well. But Feidas will be. He's got about 80 seconds left to see through this fight. He's had a torrid night in there, and he'll be glad to hear that final bell if he makes it that far. And at this point, I think it's looking like he might do, because Reyes he's still landing it full shots, but he's slowed the pace down. Although I'll say that he's starting to raise it up a little bit again and get the crowd excited.
Yeah, Vedas hurt a little bit there. The referee was having a look at that, and you could tell Ray certainly sensed something. He stepped up the levels then. 50 seconds with this one left to go.
And to be fair to Feidas, he's biting down and firing back. He's got some guts.
Yeah, he's trying to fight fire with fire in the last few seconds of the final round. And, after the first minute of the first round, we didn't think we'd see this much of the fight. But credit to Vedas, Brad's done very little wrong in there.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation for both fighters. For the opponent, it's been a bit of a moral victory just to get through it, and for Ray, it's a good chance for him to get another win, get his second win in terms of his pro career, and he's been dominant in terms of the performance.
Yeah, and without doubt, this has been the performance of the night for me.
Yeah, like his namesake, Chris Ray, he's put his opponent on the road to well. Landed some really decent shots and is continuing to throw the right hand as we tick into the final seconds of the fight.
And if we had a couple more rounds tonight, there's no doubt Brad would have got the stoppage. What a performance that is from Bradley Ray, just showing why he's being talked about as one of the hot prospects around middleweight, super middleweight and light heavyweight. And there's a picture of him next to Alexander Usyk, and he's taller than him, so there's potential for Brad to move up the weights. And what a performance that was from the Stingray.
Yeah, he'll be satisfied with that, I think, when he looks back on it. He might not be happy with the fact he didn't get the stoppage, but he landed some really telling blows, and I think if a stoppage was going to come, it would have come in that particular fight. But his opponent, to be fair to him, bit down and just dug in and managed to see it through.
And like Luke Evans would say, a punch-perfect performance from Brad. And he'll be very happy with that in the corner. Blaine Eunice and Mike Jackson happy in the corner, and they've got every reason to be. What a performance that was.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds of light heavyweight action, referee star referee Phil Edwards scoring for Andy Brook has judged this particular contest 40 points to 36 points for your winner, now undefeated in 2 professional contests from Stratford, Bradley Ray. And your appreciation, please, for our continental visitor, Vedas Bastioskas.
So, as expected, another shutout win. Feidas takes a bit of applause from the crowd, who, even though they were there to support their man, they recognise that he took some really tough shots in the first round and did well to see the fight through.
Yeah, and credit to him, because I didn't think he'd see the end at certain points of that bout. Chief support of the evening is over, and that just leaves one contest left, and it's a mouth-watering clash between Liam Taylor and Tyrone Nurse. Michael passes primed in the ring. Let him introduce the fighters.
Ladies and gentlemen, just before our main event, which is a 10-round official eliminator for the British Championship, please would you just take 5 minutes, stay around. It's going to be a great fight. It's a rematch, but there's 5 minutes if you need to go for a comfort break. 5 minutes till the main event. Thank you.
Well, he's not going to introduce the next fight. He's given us 5 minutes, which means we can talk about the main event. And Terry, no sitting on the ropes, sitting on the fence, as they say. Who have you got for this one?
I think at this point in their 2 careers, we're going to see revenge tonight. I think Liam Taylor's going to get the job done. I imagine it's going to be a decision win. He's going to have to go the full 10 rounds. And I think it's going to be a good 10 rounds for him. He's going to get revenge over Tyrone Nurse. But Tyrone is such a smart fighter as well. He's going to learn a lot from these 10 rounds if it does go the distance with Tyrone. How about you, Luke?
Yeah, I think we've got to see how much it's taken out of Tyrone. He's coming off back-to-back defeats. All right, maybe the last one was a bit controversial, but Tyrone Nurse has shown over the years how good he can be in the ring, and when he beat Liam Taylor, it was a good Tyrone Nurse that night. We'll see what's taken out of him, but also I don't think we've seen the best of Liam Taylor. If you speak to people that have sparred him, he's unbelievable in the gym, and it's whether he can deliver that tonight, because it's the night that defines both of their careers at the British scene. Yeah, and I think we'll find out early in the fight what Tyrone's got left. His style is all about boxing ability, so if he comes out and his range isn't there, his movement is not there as well. It could be a tough night for Tyrone if he comes out, and a lot of the stuff that made him successful
has just ran away from him and is no longer available to him. So it's a fascinating fight. It's an interesting fight. A couple of years ago when Frank Maloney was a promoter, Kelly Maloney I should say was a promoter and still a man, it was the type of fight he might put on a Friday night on Sky. As Steve said, the TV dates aren't always there, so we're managing to get it to people who want to see the fight by putting it on through the internet. So I think people should definitely stick around and watch it. Any people who come to support the other fighters in the venue should watch it, because it's a good trade fight, as we say.
Yeah, and the Manchester crowd's a very knowledgeable one of boxing, isn't it? And you can see that everyone has stuck around for this main event, and a lot of people have been talking about it when you're in and around the arena tonight. This is the fight that people want to see.
Yeah, as you say, the crowd that come to this type of show are not just here to be seen, to be at a boxing match. They're here because they want to support the local fighter. The ones who stay for the duration of all of the fights have obviously shown that they want to support the actual sport of boxing as well. And as you say, they're the people that you talk to at ringside who know the stuff, they know what they're looking at, and everyone's excited about the fight. I don't think it's going to be a barnstorming war, but it could be if Tyrone comes out, realises that what he had previously is no longer there and just has to kind of dog it out and grit it out. It could be a big final stand for Tyrone, so I'm interested. I know a lot of people are excited. John Evans has been talking about the fight all week on Twitter, telling people to watch it. So I think this type of fight and this type of format moving forward, I'm hoping to see more of on these type of shows.
Yeah, and from Liam Taylor's point of view, does he have to follow the kind of the footprint that Jack Catterall showed on how to beat Tyrone Nurse? Because you know, Jack and Liam are very different fighters. How do you approach this if you're in Liam Taylor's camp?
Yeah, I think Liam, like as you say, he's not going to want to look at what Jack did and try to replicate it. He wants to have watched Tyrone. He's seen him up close, so he knows what Tyrone's all about. He wants to try and beat Tyrone using his own style and using his own ability. So I think he might just discard the Catterall fight. As you say, Catterall's a different type of style. He's kind of high octave, and now he's with Jamie Moore. Jack is kind of trying to take his boxing to the next level. So if I was Liam, I'd have discounted any previous performances against Nurse, including his own, and just try and build something himself for tonight.
Yeah, looking back at the night of boxing we've had so far, who stood out to you? Because we've had some really good performances, right from out of Farrell making his debut all the way up to Bradley Ray then.
I liked Farrell. I thought Farrell's performance was good for the debut performance. Echo was a really good performance, I thought. And again, I do like watching Luke Evans. He said he wants to be known now for his boxing and not the stuff that he enjoyed outside the ring. He had a couple of rounds where his form dipped a little bit, but I think he can go back, look at those rounds and know how not to replicate that next time. So I've been happy with what I've seen so far.
Yeah, 100%, and the boxing's only going to get better. We're building to this main event for a long time. And how much do you think either man will have taken out the first fight?
I think in terms of the first fight, I think Taylor will have taken more out of the first fight. Obviously, he lost that fight. He'll have got an understanding of what Tyrone Nurse is about. If anything, Tyrone Nurse maybe has been fighting at a certain level for so long that fight will just be enough a victory for him. He may have gone back and revisited that fight or thought about it subsequently since this one was made. But I think that first fight, you can kind of put that one in the bin, given the fact that Nurse is a bit off form recently. He's not getting any younger as well. So that first fight, I'd kind of put that in the recycle bin, and I'd be interested to see how the first minute of this fight pans out. Usually in a fight like this where you've got 10 rounds, the first minute of a fight can tell you a story itself of how the fight is going to develop. So I'd be interested to see what happens in that first minute, and I'd certainly be interested to see what Tyrone looks like in terms of his balance and movement.
Yeah, it's an interesting one as well. Of course, Taylor took the Tyrone Nurse fight the first time on late notice. He's had a full camp for this one. Interesting to see what the game plan's like going into it.
Yeah, and it's definitely looked like it's, barring a major punch, it's probably going to be a distance fight as well. So Taylor's got to think that Tyrone Nurse has done the distance on numerous occasions. So even if Tyrone's not at his best, he has that innate experience and understanding of what he needs to do in order to win these types of fights. The big question is whether Taylor, after losing the first fight against Nurse, can actually develop that understanding himself and register a win. If he loses to Nurse tonight, it might be tough psychologically for him to come back from. He's probably not going to take a physical beating, but a loss tonight I think could be a big damaging blow for Taylor.
Yeah, and then looking forward for the winner, either man look like they'll get a shot at newly crowned British champion Johnny Garton's title, and they're both intriguing matchups if those fights get made against someone who you'd never thought would win a British title when he was losing fights, Johnny Garton, but he's gone there the hard way, and they'd be big fights on the TV stage.
Yeah, and that first British title win, it's a cliche, but it does improve you as a fighter knowing that you've been good enough to win the British title. I always advocate defending it maybe 2 or 3 times. Certainly win the British title outright, but don't whip it on the fine, defend it too many times. Because every person who wants to fight for the British title and wants to take that title from you, they're going to bring it in that particular fight. So it'll be interesting, as you say. We've got this fight is going to be an interesting one, and then if the winner goes on to fight Garton Nets, then that'll certainly be an intriguing fight in prospect.
Yeah, the MC Michael Bass has just got in the ring there. We're moments away from the main event of the evening.
Yeah, Mike looks like he enjoyed his 5-minute comfort break. Gave him a chance to have a bit of a walk around, stretch his legs, and it gives people a chance to go to the bar, have a quick refuel, grab an hot dog and come back. And it's good to see that a lot of people are stuck around for the main event, because that's what this entire show has been marketed on. The fact that Steve has managed to put together an event that has captured the general punter in the crowd, as well as people like me and you who follow the sport quite closely.
Yeah, and it's not just tonight either. In 2 weeks' time in Liverpool, Colin Day and Tom McGuinness, 2 VIP fighters, put it all on the line. The Jolly Boy show here in Manchester on the 16th of December. You've got Joey Uko, we saw tonight, in with another undefeated prospect, Adam Ridge. So it's a great time to be a VIP fighter. Yeah,
and like I say, as long as Steve throws them all together, he's going to create good matchups. And like I said earlier on tonight, if you go to a fight and say you've got to fight this guy in a 50-50 fight, and the fighter of his team say we don't want it, then just say, right, well, I'm not going to promote you, here's your contract back, go and look elsewhere. So I advocate these types of fights, and hope we see more of them in 2019.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Victoria Warehouse here in Manchester, this is the main event of the evening. Please welcome the first of tonight's boxers, coming to the ring from Huddersfield, Tyrone Nurse.
And here comes Tyrone Nurse. A man who's got a lot to prove tonight to himself more than anyone. He wants to prove that he's still capable of boxing at this level.
Yeah, he wants to prove that he's still relevant, I think. Win, lose or draw, I think Tyrone will want to put in some kind of performance that reminds people that he's a good operator. He went to a certain level as well and operated well there, so it's a massive night for Tyrone. As I say, it's going to tell us a lot about what he's got left in terms of his career and where he goes next.
Telling some of his sparring partners, they certainly feel that he's in the form of his life coming into this one. You know, he's shown no signs of decline in the gym, if you to believe what all his sparring partners have said. Interested to see how he deals with the pressure of Liam Taylor tonight, being in Manchester as well.
Yeah, and changing his training team. He was trained previously by his father, Chris Aston. So leaving your father to go to a new training team is a major statement of intent. And hopefully Nurse has rekindled his love for the sport. That's certainly what he's been saying in the build-up to it. He said previously he was going to the gym for the social side of it, so let's see what he's doing now.
And opposing Tyrone from Middleton, Liam Dynamo Taylor.
And here comes the man in the opposition corner. And you've got to say, he's got one of the better nicknames in boxing, hasn't he, Dynamo?
Yeah, obviously boxing nicknames can vary from brilliant to absolutely completely daft. We all know Percy No Mercy Harris, who got flattened by Roy Jones Jr., so you've got to take a bit of time and care and attention when picking your nicknames. It can come back to bite you.
I mean, when you look like a certain magician, it's not difficult to do.
Yeah, no. He looks focused there, coming out to the ring, Liam Taylor as well. Funny enough, Tyrone said that he actually takes a lot from his previous win over Liam. He said he believes he dropped him twice, he said one of them wasn't called. He said he hasn't, since that fight, Tyrone Nurse said that Liam hasn't fought anyone of note. He doesn't believe he's gathered enough experience to win this fight. So as we were talking earlier, Tyrone has actually taken a lot from the first fight and believes it's going to be a repeat rather than revenge.
It's certainly an intriguing contest, this one. We're just moments away from it getting underway. Here's the MC, Michael Pass.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the warehouse here in Manchester, VIP Promotions, live on VIPboxing.tv, via Facebook with Only Full Fights, and the Solomon Brothers in Germany proudly present 10 3-minute rounds of boxing, this being an official British Welterweight Championship eliminator. The officials have been appointed by the Central Area Council of the British Boxing Board of Control, whose steward in charge at ringside, sitting very proudly, is Mr. Robin Smith. The 3 scoring judges at ringside this evening are Howard Foster from Mar, Doncaster, John Latham from Bury, and Mark Lyson from Anfield. Finally, when the action commences, the star referee in charge is the world-rated Mr. Phil Edwards from Preston. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black coloured shorts trimmed with gold. At the weigh-in yesterday, he scaled 10 stone, 6 pounds, 7 ounces. His outstanding professional record thus far, 41 contests, 35 wins. 7 of those wins coming by way of knockouts, 4 defeats, 2 draws. He comes to the ring this evening as the former super lightweight champion of Great Britain, presenting from Huddersfield, Tyrone Nurse. And opposing him, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the black coloured shorts trimmed with silver. At the weigh-in yesterday, he scaled 10 stone, 6 pounds, 6 ounces. He also has an outstanding record this evening, 20 contests, 19 wins, 10 of those wins coming by way of knockout, and just a solitary defeat from the man opposing him this evening. Is it revenge? Presenting from Middleton, here is Liam Dynamo Taylor. Timekeeper Gary Brennan, star referee Phil Edwards, final instructions 10 3-minute rounds.
So like you say, big So big night for both men. They want to Tyrone Nurse. It'll be interesting as well. Tyrone is in the away corner. He's been introduced first as well, so there are little things that might light a fire underneath him for this one.
Yeah, and you mentioned it earlier. The first minute and the first round's going to be intriguing in this one.
And before we really get underway, just a reminder, as part of the Black Friday promotions, VIP BE boxing equipment designed by Jamie Moore is down. You can get 30% off all the boxing gloves and training equipment with the code VIPTV30 when you check out. Get yourself some equipment, take a photograph of yourself wearing the boxing gloves and whatnot, and I'll make sure if you tweet it to Jamie, I'll use my considerable influence to get Jamie to throw you a retweet or two. And also one from Nigel Traffis as well, so you've got 2 for 1 there. Yeah, as well as a 30%.
Just as we expect, a cagey start to this one. Both men just trying to establish that jab. 10 rounds this contest, a long time.
Yeah, that's only natural, as you say. Both of men have got a lot to lose, so they want to get a good start.
Really sharp start this from Liam Taylor. Just a couple of counter jabs that he's landed with. No, it always was going to be a battle of the jabs tonight.
Yeah, interesting. Tyrone is taking a look at it, Liam. Tyrone, the key for Tyrone would be to get his jab working. If you can do that early, then it would be a really tough fight for Taylor.
Yeah, 3 scoring judges as well ringside, don't forget. So the referee doesn't have to score this one like he has done for the rest of the night.
He's looking good, Nurse, so far. He's looking good with the jab. His movement looks good as well. Maybe the change in training regime has reinvigorated him, and the confidence that he took from the first fight he's got to bounce into this one with.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to refresh as a fighter, don't you, if you've been in the camp for so long. Been a cagey opener this.
Yeah, and in fairness, it's what Nurse was saying prior to the fight. He said that Taylor's not fought anyone of note since he lost to Tyrone himself. And that was a fair comment from Nurse, so it might be that Taylor's not managed to build the experience he needs to win at this type of level against Tyrone. So it might be a case of repeating things pan out the way Tyrone intends them to pan out. And he has, as I say, he's looking very good. His movement looks good as well, and he looks reinvigorated at the moment.
Yeah, nice pressure from Taylor though there. Eye-catching work on the front foot.
Yeah, he's going to want to try and hustle Tyrone out of this in the early going, kind of put his stamp on the fight. He doesn't want to let Tyrone take the first couple of rounds and then have to kind of fight his way back into the fight. He wants to make a statement of his own early on as well.
And it's been one of those opening rounds that we see so often, very cagey. Nice uppercut and then a left hook landing from Tyrone Nurse towards the end of the round though.
Yeah, and he's been a quality operator, Tyrone, since beating Liam Taylor. He drew with Chris Jenkins, beat Chris Jenkins, beat Willie Lamont, Sammy Coyle, had a draw with Joe Hughes, beat Andy Cates, and then obviously he lost to Jack Catterall and Jack Brubaker these past 2 fights. So he's always fought a consistently decent level, Tyrone, so that might be the key for him in the early rounds of this fight. And Taylor might be upping his fitness and strength if as the fight progresses.
Yeah, difficult one to score, that opener as well. Very cagey.
Yeah, that cagey round, I'd lean towards Tyrone for that one.
Yeah, and you can see neither man are willing to commit fully with the backhand, knowing that a sharp counter is going to come their way. We said it earlier, it was going to be a battle of the jabs tonight, and it certainly was in that opening round.
Yeah, so far it has been. So it's going to be a case of who can get the most success off the jab and then develop their own right hands and body punches. We've seen a lot of left hooks to the body tonight, so that might be a key feature of this fight if someone can start cracking away to the body.
Seconds out, round 2.
And Liam looks very wide-eyed. He's obviously the adrenaline kicked in that first round. Though he might settle down a bit in this round and start thinking a bit more about what he needs to do to unlock this Tyrone Nurse style.
Yeah, and it's a really pleasing style on the eye, isn't it, what Tyrone Nurse has got?
Yeah, he's a slick boxer, Tyrone. He knows what he's doing. It's not all about knockouts and two-way fights. Sometimes you can just appreciate and watch someone putting in a solid boxing performance, and Tyrone's done that on many occasions.
Nice right hand over the top landing from Liam Taylor, and Nurse just came back with the left hook, and it's one of them, it's really nip and tuck, isn't it? When either man has success, the other one fires back.
Yeah, and the edge with Tyrone at the moment is the fact that he can actually avoid the punches that bit more effectively, but as the rounds go by, that might not be the case. Taylor might start landing with more success as the rounds go by, but at the moment Tyrone is bobbing and weaving under the shots and tied him up a little bit there and clipped him a few times on the blind side of the referee. And so that's the experience there with Tyrone.
And you can certainly hear the Manchester crowd think Taylor started the second round a lot better than did the first. The noise level just increased a little bit. Right hand from Taylor landing over the top.
Yeah, he just got himself into a position where he was right on Tyrone's chest there, but he struggled to get the shots off. As you say, Taylor, he needs to relax a little bit more, and he's starting to do that in this round. Think about what he wants to do, what he's been working on in the gym, and try and bring it into play.
Yeah, and you can certainly see early on, part of the game plan from Steve Maylett in that corner is to close the distance. And nice work from Nurse again.
Yeah, and he's a smart guy, Steve Maylett. He's obsessive about the sport and wants to bring the best out of his fighters. So he'll have been really drilling the information into Taylor in the gym. So it's just a case where if he can replicate that in the ring tonight.
Yeah, and you hear from his sparring partners that Liam Taylor's phenomenal in sparring, as is Tyrone Nurse. And it's a different animal getting in the ring, isn't it, on a night like tonight and delivering.
Yeah, and in this round we've seen just more than the jab. We've seen some right hands from Taylor, but we've also seen some counter left hooks from Tyrone Nurse as well. So they're starting to bring the raw offensive arsenal into play.
Taylor's certainly been a lot busier this round than he was the opener.
A bit of bruising by the left temple as well of Nurse. I think Taylor's been the busier fighter, but the quality shots, as you see there, with a right hand and a left hook have come from Nurse in this round.
Yeah, Taylor caught him on the way in though. It's a really difficult one to score this second round, as the first was.
And Tyrone's really loading up on that right hand now. He was landing a couple of sneaky left hook counters, and now he's bringing the right hand in as well. So he seems to be growing in confidence, Tyrone Nurse, after back-to-back defeats.
Yeah, and it was a worry going into this how he'd handle back-to-back defeats, but he looks comfortable as he always is in there.
Yeah, and he's an accomplished guy, Nurse. 35 wins, only 4 defeats, 2 draws, and out of his 35 wins, 7 of them by KO. He's not a huge puncher, but I wouldn't like to be punched in the face by him, so... In terms of Liam Taylor, 19 wins, the 1 defeat, as we know, against Tyrone Nurse, a decision defeat. Out of his 19 wins, 10 of them have come by knockout. He's concentrating on the instructions from Steve and Maylett in the corner. I think due to the quality of the work, I'd nick that one for Tyrone Nurse. So I'd like to see Taylor come out this round and kind of maybe try and get to grips with the fight and put his arm around the situation and just try and nick around away from Tyrone Nurse and maybe have a dominant round if he possibly can, which is easier said than done against Tyrone.
Yeah, it's so difficult to score. Just looking around ringside, you can see everyone's intrigued by this contest. Normally, on a night like tonight, you see the people that bought tickets from the guys watching, everyone else is milling about having a chat, but all the eyes are fixed on the ring at the moment. Turning into a real tactical battle in there, like the first one was.
Yeah, and as you mentioned yourself, people like us will have seen Tyrone come up on these types of shows, but you also people in the crowd who follow VIP promotions will have seen Tyrone back in the day, been impressed by him, and he's kind of come back down to fight on a show like this, hoping that he can get a win, gun for the British title. But again, Taylor, he wants to do the same thing. He wants to have his stay in the sun. So it's going to be an interesting round, this, Taylor, I think. Certainly on my scorecard, needs to try and take this round and make a statement.
Yeah, and the pattern of the fight seems to have fallen in. Taylor's throwing more shots, but just the quality's coming from Tyrone Nurse at the moment.
And as you say, with 3 scoring judges, one judge might like the quality, one might like the quantity, and it's always the case of what that other judge likes as well.
And just as you were talking, Taylor landed a nice left hook, counter left hook. The first shot he's landed like that at the contest.
We mentioned Howard Foster before. He's one of the men judging the fight. He's a good reader of fights, Howard, as well. He's had people questioning his stoppages in the past, but to be fair, if you watch Howard Foster officiate a fight, he always offers and gives the opponent an opportunity to throw the punches. When the punches don't come, he stops the fight because he cares about the fighter's safe there. So he takes some unjustifiable stick, really.
Nice right hand over the top from Tyrone Nurse.
Yeah, he's starting to really bring that right hand in. He looks really relaxed as well, Tyrone. He's always been kind of a languid style character, but he looks particularly relaxed tonight, maybe with the confidence of having that win in the first fight.
Yeah, and he's looked sharp this round. He's very accomplished defensively, Tyrone Nurse, isn't he? Very difficult to hit. You're not going to get a free shot on him.
Yeah, you're not going to get a free shot, and you're going to find it struggle to get the follow-up shots on him as well. He's never been stopped. Any defeats he's had have come on points against some quality operators as well. So it was a big move for Liam Taylor to take this fight. His team are obviously confident that he can maybe grind Tyrone down as the fight goes into the closing stretches.
Just showing glimpses of this one of igniting into a real war as Taylor looks to unload with Nurse back on the ropes.
Yeah, and he did the right thing there, Taylor. They got a bit tangled up, so he just used it as an opportunity to throw some punches. It may have been created as a gentleman's sport boxing, but you have to have some of the dark arts in there as well, and a really good right hand goes in there from Taylor as I speak.
Just as Nurse came out at the start of this round and it looked like he was going to start looking comfortable, Taylor's really put it on him in the last 30 seconds or so. Another right hand landing over the top.
Yeah, as you say, it's definitely been a round that's had a few switches in it. Tyrone came out looking super confident after the very good first 2 rounds, and now Taylor's landing more right hands and maybe taking a bit of the pep away from Tyrone.
And Nurse is struggling with that left eye a little bit. You can see him dabbing away at it at points.
We noticed the swelling at the temple as well. So as you say, those right hands, we've seen 3 in quick succession in the last minute of the round also land on Tyrone Nurse. So this is what Taylor needed to do, and he's done it, and it looks like he's on my card, he could be about to win his first round.
I love the uppercut from Taylor as well. Real quality work that from Liam Taylor on the back foot. And just as it looked as if Tyrone Nurse was going to take over this one, Liam Taylor came back with his best round of the fight, and that was the only clear round I think so far.
And that was a telling round as well, because Nurse took some really clean shots. He shrugged them off, but he looked uncomfortable when he took a couple of those shots as well. That's going to be a big boost for Taylor. If Taylor can come out and do more of the same and get himself some back-to-back rounds, he'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, and so far it's living up to the hype, isn't it? You know, we've been talking about this fight for a long time. As soon as it got made, had the potential to be a real barnstormer, and 3 rounds in, and it's been a great battle between 2 evenly matched fighters.
And Ice Cube has made its way into the ring as well. Referee kicks it out in our general direction. He looks really concentrated in the corner, Liam Taylor. He looks really focused as well. He's taking in everything that he's been told. Obviously, you don't sit in the corner doing a crossword, but sometimes fighters can look like they're drifting a little bit, but that's not the case tonight. Although George Groves might take a Rubik's Cube into the corner if he had the chance.
You could see Nurse came out with a bit more intent in that round, but Taylor's really starting to establish that jab.
Yeah, we should say now, Taylor, he came out a bit brawling at times, but now he's settled down a bit. The first 2 rounds, I thought he was smothering his own work quite a lot, but now, like you say, he's jabbing, giving himself a bit of space. So the judges are going to be looking at that. Mark Lyson, John Latham, and as I mentioned, Howard Foster are going to be looking, and it's a case of what they prefer, but there's also rules of scoring as well, and a lot of the rules are applied in terms of jabbing, controlling the action, and managing the fight, and that's what Taylor's doing at the moment.
Oh, nice work again from Taylor. Nurse was just smothering his work, like you said, like Taylor did earlier on. Nurse just smothered his work a little bit there.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a role reversal in this round. Taylor's looking nice with the jab and the boxing ability, and we've seen a few stumbles from Nurse, so that's an interesting plot development in this fight.
Nice work from Nurse on the way in.
Anyone watching at home while we're scoring the fight, you can tell us what you think. You can contact me at TerryBoxing. Also look up Luke Madeira on Twitter as well. Tell us what your scores are. We'll be interested to see how you've got it through 4 at the end of this round, if possible.
Yeah, Steve Mayo just called for Liam Taylor to keep a high guard as he comes on the inside, not take any stupid shots. That was nice work from Taylor. Just got to be careful with that head.
Yeah, he's giving Nurse something to think about as well in this round, which is something we weren't sure that we'd see from Taylor. Obviously, Nurse is holding on a little bit as well, Nurse, so it could be a momentum shift coming up in this fight.
Nice work from Taylor again with his back to the ropes, landing an uppercut and a left hook.
And a couple of body shots there. Nurse had a quick look at the referee, may have thought one of them were low, but they were clean shots.
Yeah, and the crowd really getting behind Liam Taylor now.
Yeah, it's been a good round for Taylor. Nurse is showing out a little bit as well, a few smiles as well, which is never really a good sign.
Blood coming from the mouth of Tyrone Nurse as well now. And those uppercuts having an effect. Taylor's back to the ropes.
And at the age of Tyrone said now he doesn't want to be having tough rounds like this.
And this is exactly where Taylor wanted the fight. You could see that was the game plan going into it. A nice left hook from Liam Taylor again, and it's one of those fights, both men are having success. Nurse back on the front foot. Another good round back. You could hear that both corners were asking for a flurry towards the end of the round, and in a tight fight like this, Terry, you can win the round in the last 30 seconds just from having a good period.
Yeah, it's something Sugar Ray Leonard always talked about. He knew in his mind how to see a round through. Again, it's good game management. Sugar Ray Leonard did that for flurry in the last 30 seconds of a round. That's how he robbed Marvin Hagler back in the day. So, as you say, sometimes you can have a little think, maybe think to yourself, this is a close round, throw a few shots at the end. Even if they don't connect cleanly, it shows that you've got intent and they might just nick the round on a close scorecard.
Yeah, like Terry said, let us know how you score in this one. It's an intriguing one. Omar Dusari's just messaging, he said he can see Tyrone Nurse winning this one. Eric Bartram said 2-all. And it's one of them. It's just what you like, isn't it? The rounds have all been so tight so far.
Yeah, I've got it 2 rounds each, and Stefan Atten agrees with me. He's got it 2 rounds apiece as well. And like you, he said Taylor's starting to have plenty of success now. The legendary David Lee said on commentary, I remind him of a prime Jesse Ventura. I ain't got time to lead, but cheers for that, Lee.
Luke High's got it 2-all as well after 4. I think that's the general consensus.
Danny Winterbottom, the brilliant boxing writer, has also got it 2-2 on his card, so we're starting to see that a lot of people are seeing this one as split, Luke.
A lovely work from Tyrone Nurse. Taylor backed up against the ropes.
Someone called Joe Bots on Twitter has got it scored 39-37 for Taylor. So keep the scores coming in. Let us know how you're seeing this fight. Again, Nurse takes a right hand and just shows out a little bit, which I don't like to see.
You can see he's struggling a little bit with that blood from his mouth, Nurse, isn't he?
Yeah, it's an horrible thing as well to have to bleed from the mouth. Obviously, the famous case was Larry Holmes bit into his own tongue and had to spit blood and swallow blood throughout the entire night. It's an unpleasant thing, but Nurse is an experienced guy. And people forget he's a flashy boxer, Nurse, but he's also a tough guy as well. So I'd expect to see him just bite down on his gum shield, hopefully avoid biting down on his tongue and just see that through.
Taylor getting close with the head a moment ago. One from the referee. You know, I think the better work is just coming from Liam Taylor at the moment.
Yeah, I thought the first 2 rounds he smuffed his work and looked quite ragged, but then the opposite was the case for the 2 rounds after that, depending on how you see it. And now it's Tyrone who looks a bit leaden-footed. He's looking to hold on a little bit more and looking to work his way inside. And that could just be age catching up with him, tiredness, a tough career that he's had as well.
Yeah, both men taking a little bit of a breather, and I don't blame him. It's been such a high pace so far. Nice right hand from Taylor, and Nurse comes back. And it's one of them, every time one of the fighters has success, the other one comes back.
Yeah, it's been give and take so far, particularly in this round, as you say. A lot of it's what you like the look of. In this type of fight, you're expecting Tyrone to be the better boxer and to win the rounds by boxing. So if Tyrone's not clearly winning the rounds on the back of his jab and his boxing performance, and the round's becoming quite bitty, then the judges are naturally going to look towards his opponent in terms of who they think is winning the fight and winning the rounds.
Yeah, and going towards the last 30 seconds of this round, this is where close rounds like this can be won. Good work from Nurse on the back foot, but Taylor's still landing in there.
People forget Liam Taylor's 27, there's only 1 year between them. Tyrone Nurse is 28, but Tyrone Nurse has done a lot of rounds. He's done 270 rounds to Liam's 79, so if it comes to who's the fresher fighter of the two, I imagine that's going to favour Taylor as we go down the stretch.
Coming towards the halfway point. Another close round, Terry.
And again, I think Taylor towards the end with that little combination may have nicked the round. Sometimes it's like you say, it's the last thing that the judges remember. They've got to make a quick decision and a quick turnaround on that decision, so that may be, we might be looking at 3-2 for Taylor going into this round.
It's one of them though, you couldn't argue with either man being ahead. Depends what you like as a judge, and it's a good thing we have the 3 scoring judges tonight. You know, it's not all based on one man's decision like so many fights often are.
Yeah, sometimes you need those 3 different perspectives. So a lot of people complain about the judging, the state of judging these days. I think what people don't like is when the 3 judges have wildly different interpretations of a close fight. So if 2 judges scored a fight 115, 113 either way, then someone comes with 118, 110. That's what kind of gets people annoyed and angry, and makes them talk about corruption and whatnot.
10 seconds, corners.
But I think because you say the 3 judges are going to have different interpretations, so I think we might, if it carries on this thing, see some kind of a split decision down the line if it goes a distance.
Yeah, and the consensus on social media seems to be Taylor's just edged ahead with that round. So difficult to split both men.
I've now got it 3 rounds to 2, so it won't be surprised. I won't be surprised if each of the 3 judges maybe have got the same margin, but in their different directions.
That's a nice jab from Nurse. That's what we thought the fight would look like when we came into this one.
Yeah, as you say, he's got a really nice jab, Nurse. He's more like a doctor than a nurse when it comes to putting that jab out. And when he does well with the jab, everything else comes behind it, but saying that, he's just taking a clean shot to the chin as well. And there seems to be just more impact on Nurse's shots early in the fight. He's never been a renowned puncher, but he looks sharp early in the fight, and he just seems to be a bit draggled now, if that's even a word. If it's not, I'm sure David Lee will let me know.
Yeah, Taylor just seems to have a bit more spite in his shots now. Like you said, a reversal of what happened in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, and it's not the cleanest of boxing, but it's effective, and if it's effective and it's winning your rounds, then you stick with it. It's not a beauty contest. We always want to see a nice, aesthetically pleasing fight, but sometimes, as we saw with Josh Warrington against Lee Selby, it worked for him in that fight to make it a bit of a messy fight. And he was also, his boxing performance in that fight for Warrington was underrated, because he basically took the advantage away from his opponent, which is what boxing is. It's not just all about flicking out a jab with a pair of nice shots and a few tassels.
Yeah, just as Nurse landed a good shot there, Taylor came back with 2 or 3 of his own. I think that's been the difference so far.
Yeah, the activity in this fight is certainly favouring Taylor. David Lee say, if I say it, then it's a word about bedraggled, so cheers for that, Dave. Just keep us on our toes for the rest of the night. But as I say, this kind of fight is favouring Taylor. It's not favouring Nurse at the moment, so Nurse might go back to his corner now and have to try and switch things up for the 7th round.
Yeah, and you can hear that Nurse's corner just calling for take a little half step back and get behind that jab again.
Yeah, he just needs some breathing space. If he doesn't get space to breathe and work Nurse, it's going to be tough for him going into the final few rounds.
And that's exactly what the corner were calling for. Nice combination at range.
So even though he's avoiding a lot of punches here, the judges might be looking at it and thinking the narrative is he's slipping the shots, but he's not throwing anything back.
Head's coming dangerously close again in there.
And again, a jab. Nurse takes a jab there, so that's not something you thought you'd be saying at the start of the fight. It's usually the Nurse is giving them.
Yeah, one thing about the Tyrone Nurse that we've seen tonight, he is taking a lot of unnecessary shots, isn't he? Single shots that he'd usually be getting out of the way of.
Yeah, and I think that's just age, and he's staying a bit too close as well, even though when he's in close he's got it ducking and diving and avoiding the punches. It just looks bad, it's not his game, and sometimes subconsciously a judge might look at a fight and think, well, that's not how you usually box, and you're not being as effective as you usually are, and that can work against you on the cards.
And you can see all three judges looking on intently. Now, have you got this one, another Liam Taylor round?
I've got it 4 rounds to 2 at the moment. I'm not sure how the people out there have got it. It's, I think, although some of the rounds have been close, I think Taylor has just put a bit more effort into the rounds that he's managed to win. Tyrone, I thought he won the first 2 rounds without putting too much effort into them, but now it's kind of turned into a bit of a dogfight. So again, tweet me at TerryBots and let me know how you score in the fight, and we'll get as many of them rounded up as we possibly can.
Yeah, I'm seeing it the same way as you, Terry.
10 seconds, corners.
Taylor's not winning any of the rounds by a wide margin, by any stretch of the imagination, but he's just doing enough, and that's what fighters have to do sometimes.
Round 7.
Yeah, if it stays on like this, it's going to be one of those fights where the loser will grumble about being the victim of an injustice, but it's just a bitty, close fight that we've seen so far. And like I say, I'd have no problem if someone scored a couple of rounds out to Taylor the other way.
Ian already, Nurse is just trying to get behind that jab again. That was good from Nurse, just timing Taylor as he came in. And that was the Tyrone Nurse we're used to seeing.
Yeah, and like you say, I think that his corner have told him that he needs to box a little bit more.
Yeah, landed a left hook as Taylor dived in then.
Stefan Hatton has got an update for us. He's got it 58-56 for Taylor. Michael Coleman says Taylor's winning this on pure activity. He doesn't see anything different happening over the next 4 rounds, and that, I'd agree with that assessment as things stand at the moment.
A nice left hook from Nurse though, landing.
And Nurse needed that, I think. He needed to clip him with something just to put him in his place a little bit.
Yeah. I think Nurse is just looking to be a little bit too flashy defensively instead of coming back with counters of his own. Whereas Taylor's sticking to the basics, just catching shots on his gloves and firing back.
Yeah, and I think to be fair, as you said, Tyrone's been told in his corner, he's come out much better this round. He's boxing at a distance. A few seconds ago he landed a left hook to the body as well. He's landed some right hands and a jab as well. So we could see a bit of a renaissance here, and that's a really good right hand from Nurse as a sport.
Yeah, and Taylor just overstretching a little bit with that jab.
Global Boxing 1 have got this 4-2 to Taylor. They're saying it's night and day between this and the first fight 3 years ago, which is a fair comment. As we say, going into the fight, Nurse maybe looked at that first fight and thought Taylor hadn't made any improvements, but maybe didn't look at himself and thought about certain aspects of his game that started to deteriorate. I've got Nurse winning this round so far, but he's really had to dig in to win this round if that's the case.
Yeah, it's been a close one though, and Taylor could certainly nick it in the last 40 or so seconds. Just up his work rate a little bit. His corner are happy with his work. Oh, nice left hand from Taylor again. A cut opening up by the left eye of Tyrone Nurse.
Yep, the blood has started to flow on Nurse. It's a shame he's having his most successful round, I think, since the first 2. Sometimes people score the blood as well, so that's a shame for Nurse, but I'm sure the corner will get that cut sealed as best he can between rounds.
Yeah, and that cut has just allowed Taylor to get back on the inside where he wanted to be. Lovely work again from Liam Taylor. Uppercut landed as well.
And Nurse fires back on the inside, so a bit of defence there on the inside from Nurse, and he actually tucks up better on the inside there than we've seen in previous rounds when he was slipping away, but actually not being able to come back with any of his own punches. That time he tucked up, avoided a few of the shots and came back with his own shots, so I gave that 10-9 to Nurse.
Interesting to see if that cut was caused by a punch or a head clash.
Yeah, you'd think it would be a cut, a punch. It's been a clean fight so far, although it's been hotly contested. There's not been
head
really
clash.
Good, yeah,
it was a head clash. Phil Edwards just indicating it was from a head clash.
Well, Phil Edwards has set me to rights there. He knows what's what. So cheers for that, Phil. And again, Taylor looks on intently as Malik gives him instructions in the corner. What Tyrone Nurse needs to do now is try and build on the success that he got in that round again. Come out again, do what he did in that round, maybe try not to get caught too much inside and in close, but if he does get in close, tuck up the way he did just then and be in a position where he can return fire.
Going to the 8th round of this 10-rounder.
Seconds out, round 8.
And on our scorecards, we've got a round in it.
And it's been an interesting fight as well. as people expected. It was a good fight on paper and it's turned into a good fight on canvas. Liam Taylor's got a wide-eyed look of concentration. I would like to meet him in a staring contest. I think he'd absolutely annihilate me. But it just shows how much this means to him, that he wants to get the revenge win in front of his own fans and move on to the British title.
Nice work from Taylor behind that jab again.
Yeah, because you see, you won't really be expecting to see that at the start of the night in terms of what we were expecting to see. And Tyrone's got that kind of, even though he's taken some shots tonight, he's kind of got that aged look about his face that fighters get as they get many rounds under the bank. You mark up that little bit sooner than expected and it just takes its toll on you physically.
Yeah, and after losing the last one on our cards, he started really well, Liam Taylor, in this 8th round.
Yeah, that's a good thing. It shows his corner had told him to step up and that's what he's done. Tyrone again there covered up on a few of those shots, but he took a few and didn't come back with any of his own punches. And he fell short with the jab as well, so it's been a bit of a disastrous start to the round for Tyrone so far.
Yeah, really smart opening to the round from Taylor. Even with his back to the ropes, Taylor's landing shots. Nurse had a little bit of success then. Taylor fires back with a left uppercut and right hook.
And if Taylor carries on in this theme for the rest of the round, he might take this round and have a successful round, and then he'll be looking at the final straight and bouncing into it with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and credit to both men. It's been a tremendous pace, this fight so far.
Danny Winterbottom is also saying the same thing. Nurse cut over the left eye, but has his best round since the early exchanges. Danny's got it 67-66 for Taylor.
Lovely work again from Taylor. He's not letting Nurse rest. That was good from Nurse though, with a straight right hand. It's just one of them that's flowing, and each man's having a period of success. And just when you think someone's going to take over, the other one digs in. Nice from Nurse again.
Yeah, he's composed, Nurse. That's the thing that he's managed to retain. You're never going to lose your composure when you're a fighter like him, but it's been a bit torrid for him in times in terms of the punches that have been coming in this direction. And Taylor just looks like he could do this for 12 rounds, never mind 10.
And that cut's opened up again over Nurse's left eye.
Good right hand by Nurse in the midst of all that. He's coming on strong in the last minute or so of the round. And that's that experience coming through.
Yeah, and that's how you wedge rounds in fights like this. Finishing strong. And this round's been a tale of two halves, certainly.
White Rose Boxing is saying we're going into the last 2 rounds. White Rose Boxing feels Taylor's been the busier fighter, but thinks Tyrone Nurse can still bring this back, so he's saying come on Tyrone. But I thought that was a Taylor round. I thought he did his good work early on.
Yeah.
Tyrone came back into it a little bit, but then when they were exchanging shots, I thought Taylor just had the edge in the exchanges.
Yeah, and with 2 rounds to go, you certainly think it's all on these last couple.
And again, Taylor's just listening to everything Mailet's saying. And Mailet's not one of those trainers who's going to bombard you with instructions. He tends to be quite concise.
Yeah, you notice that in the corner with all his fighters. There's always just a clear message for him to go out and try and employ.
And I think a good cornerman gets a sense of what his fighter wants. Jamie Moore was saying that some different characters like different things in the corner. Some people like to be told off, some people like to be given instructions. So a good cornerman will adapt to the needs of the fighter and to the needs of the fight itself.
Seconds out, round 9.
Two more rounds to go, and both men will be desperate to win these 2 rounds.
And again, Nurse has done the right thing. He's come out, tried to take centre ring behind the jab, but then Taylor comes back with a few jabs of his own. Nice right hand to the sternum there by Nurse on the inside.
Yeah, that's better from Nurse, isn't it? More like the Tyrone Nurse we thought we'd see tonight.
Yeah. And it might have just been a case that you can only do that in flashes now, so you've got to ask whether the flashes of Nurse are going to be good enough to beat the best of Taylor that we've seen so far. Obviously, when I say flashes of Nurses, I'm not making any kind of derogatory comment there. I'm just talking about the fights.
Lovely work from Nurse, left up to the body and then to the head.
But it's a strange thing with Nurse. he's just kind of, when he's defending some of the shots, he's actually taking the shots and giving his shoulders a little bit of a movement, but technically a couple of scoring shots going through to his stomach and his upper body. It's something that I've noticed him doing a couple of times tonight that might come back to bite him.
Yeah, another close round, this one. It'd be really interesting to see how the judges have scored this after the bout, how they've scored every round, because you could argue each round could have gone either way.
Yeah, Stefan Atten makes another good point. He's got it 77-75 for Taylor, but he said Nurse was robbed against Brubaker, so it wouldn't surprise him if Nurse gets a decision in this fight, because that's the way boxing is sometimes. And you do sometimes find that if a fighter's been robbed or has had a sense of injustice in a previous fight, boxing kind of realigns itself and they get a decision in the next one they probably didn't deserve. So that's an interesting one from Stefan, and we'll see if that's the case.
Good work from both men on the inside. Just think Taylor's a little bit clever with his work. As I said that, he got hit with a big right hand.
And the left hook went in as well there for the Nurse. They're just fighting it out now as we come down to the last 30 seconds or so of the round.
Yeah, Liam Taylor's corner just complaining about the use of the elbow from Nurse.
But Nurse is this type of fight. Nurse is digging in the body shot, so Nurse is still paying attention to the body, where Taylor's been headhunting a little bit in this round.
So what a finish we've got in store here.
And Taylor looks very tired there. Nurse, I said earlier that it might be the case that Nurse tires as the fight progresses, but Nurse looks like he's had a second wind and has just managed the fight more effectively in these past couple of rounds.
Lovely work to the body from Taylor. Nurse comes back with a left hook of his own.
He's looking very tired, Taylor, now. And Nurse is just taking advantage of that. It's not the most beautiful boxing we've seen from Nurse, but it was effective, and I thought he won in the round.
And another tight round, and Terry, going into the last one, how have you got this?
You'll have to give me a second, Luke. I'm not as quick at adding up as I used to be.
It's certainly one that you could have either way, and it wouldn't surprise me if it all comes down to this last one.
Yeah, I've got Taylor up at the moment. I'll top my card up in a couple of seconds after the final round, but I think Taylor looked very tired in that round, so that's going to give Nurse a spring step going into this one. So we could see Nurse come out and absolutely just take it to him, and I'd expect to see that from Nurse, because this could be his last chance. So I think Nurse is going to come out maybe bombing at the start of this round, which is something that we wouldn't expect to see.
And it was always going to be a tight one. When we began the fight, didn't know which man would take over, but it's been nip and tuck every single round, and it's been a great fight. And it's one of them,
for the 10th and final round.
like you said earlier, the loser will feel hard done by either way.
Yeah, and I've got it 76-75 going into the final round. I could see maybe a round or two either way, but like you say, the losers of this fight is going to be kicking themselves, because it was both lots of things that both men could have done to make it easier on themselves, and Nurse in particular will be regretting the fact that maybe he didn't use his experience a bit more earlier on in the contest.
Yeah, Nurse has started well here behind that jab again. Lovely right hand over the top from Taylor though. And you can see both men know the importance of this last round. It could decide the fight.
Yeah, certainly Nurse has taken centre ring. I thought Nurse may have come out bombing a little bit more. He's not a big puncher, but I thought Taylor looked very tired in that last round. Nurse, he might be at the last chance salon in terms of where he goes next, so I thought he might come out and put it on him a little bit more. And again, he's still working the body, so he might be hoping that Taylor crumbles as the round progresses. But I think Taylor now is just operating on pure adrenaline at this point.
Yeah, he still landed some good shots, Taylor though. Better work coming from Nurse in that exchange. Gum shield of Liam Taylor's just come out. And you can hear Nurse's corner just urging him on. Put everything into the last 2 minutes of this.
It's going to be a big 2 minutes now for both men. Taylor comes out behind the jab, and Nurse shows some of that defence that we talked about earlier on in the fight.
Yeah, and you can see both men have put everything into this bout.
And this round might come down to whether you like the work rate from Taylor or the better boxing that we've seen so far in this round from Nurse, who's still got that quality and the ability to avoid punches while landing his own. And he's pushing Taylor back this round as well, which is a big statement from Nurse.
Oh, nice work from Nurse there. It's been a really good round this for Tyrone Nurse.
Yeah, as you say, good round for Nurse. That experience is starting to show as well.
Just over a minute to go in this one, and the crowd are getting behind both men.
And it could be that Taylor loses his last round and maybe loses the fight. He'll be kicking himself for that.
Yeah, Nurse just seems to have a little bit more energy about him now. Referee letting both men work out of the clinch. That favours Taylor. Nice body shot from Nurse, though. Taylor comes back with a shot of his own.
Yeah, Nurse played that body shot really well. It was the best punch of that particular exchange, and again, that's the type of thing that's going to stand out to the judges when they talk this particular round up.
And both men putting everything into the last 30 seconds of this one. Credit to both men. What's been an absolute war.
And as you say, at this point, Taylor looks dog-tired. He's just basically throwing anything he can. There's no cohesion really to his work. And we've seen the better punches now coming from Tyrone Nurse in the final few moments of this fight.
Yeah, and both corners just urging the men on. And there we have it. And what a fight that is between two brilliant fighters. And it's one of them. How do you score that one?
I scored it a draw, 75 each. It wouldn't surprise me, like I say, to see two different decisions from the judges. You might either see a draw or a split decision, or you might even see a split draw as well, such was the close nature of the fight. Yeah,
and I hate to see it. I hate calling fights a draw, but I agree with you every single round of that one, from where we were sat anyway.
Yeah, a draw doesn't really benefit either fighter, but sometimes it's down to the pure mathematics of the situation. 5 rounds apiece. You can quibble over the couple of rounds, but it's going to be dependent on what the judges liked and what the judges saw.
Yeah, and it'll be very interesting to see how the three judges have got this.
If anyone watching at home wants to let us know how they scored the fight, Danny Winsbottom's got an 86 to 85 for Taylor, so Danny's got Taylor winning the fight. We'd be interested to see if anyone else has got the same score.
It's one of them, the loser's going to feel aggrieved. If there is one.
And if there's a draw, they'll just go away and do it again, maybe.
Yeah, wouldn't we like to see that?
So as you say, it was a decent fight. It wasn't action all the way through the fight, every single minute, but it was an absorbing fight, and both of the fights dug in, and Tyrone as well dug in. At the time when his boxing wasn't working, he tried to do something a little bit different and dig his heels in.
Yeah, for the final time tonight, just as the judges' scorecards are totted up and checked and made sure they're all correct, the MC for the evening, Michael Pass, will announce the official result. See whose hand will be raised at the end of it.
Danny Winsbottom's also got a draw as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we render the decision upon Mr. Edwards' insistence, a round of applause. Both boxers a gallant 10-round eliminator.
So I've got it 95 each. We'll see what the judges have to say
After
about
10 rounds of absorbing action, ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision. Judge Howard Foster scores the contest 96 to 94 for Nurse. Judge John Latham scores the contest 96-95 for Taylor. And Judge Mark Lyson scores the contest 96 to 94 for the winner by way of split decision from Middleton, Liam Taylor. Once again, a round of applause for both gallant and extremely brave, talented boxers. Liam Taylor, Tyrone Nurse.
There we have it then, Terry. And Liam Taylor's just nicked it on a split decision.
Yeah, as I say, I did 95 each. Danny Winterbottom as well. Joe Botts also had it by the same margin, but I don't think you can argue with a split decision either way. It was nip and tuck on occasion. And it just boils down to what the judges liked, and this time they like Taylor.
It's not the end for anybody. Tyrone's still a relatively young man at 28. Liam goes on to fight for the British Championship, hopefully. That's it on behalf of us here this evening from the Victoria Warehouse. A truncated show, but a fine show. We shall see you next November the 30th. We're in Liverpool. See you then. Safe journey home. Enjoy the remainder of your weekend. Good night. Thank you.
Yeah, and as Michael Pass says, 30th of November is the next one in Liverpool. But what a fight that was, and we wouldn't mind seeing that again.
Yeah, it's a good fight, and I think the good thing is, although it's a split decision, no one's jumping about and shouting about it. The scores were relatively close. The scorecards reflected the fight, and that doesn't always happen in the British ring these days. So I think everyone's a winner. The fans enjoyed it. Tyrone will feel a bit aggrieved, but no one's going away thinking that was a robbery. It was a close fight, and the guy who put the more effort into it maybe got the win.
Yeah, and for Liam Taylor, he's waited a long time for this rematch, hasn't it? And you could see the relief in his face when he got the decision there.
Yeah, it's a big thing for him. He's got his revenge. The Tyrone might want another crack at him, but he's going to go away and fight for the British title now. So it's been a good night, and anyone watching at home, I hope you liked this show. Just bear in mind, one last time, as part of the Black Friday promotions, VIP BE boxing equipment designed by Jamie Moore has got 30% off all boxing gloves and training equipment. Just use the code VIPTV30. Take a photograph of your equipment, we'll send it through to Jamie Moore, and I'll make sure you get a nice little retweet, and also throw in Nigel Trappist for the bit of a two for one. And as the lights go down on that one, it's a shame for Tyrone Nurse. He's been a great fighter over the years, but as Michael Pass said, he's only 28. He's had a tough career, but he might be able to bounce back from that.
Yeah, 100%. And that's it from us here at the Victoria Warehouse. Next up, 2 weeks' time, Friday night in Liverpool. Tom McGuinness and Colin Day headlining that. And Tom Farrell and Masha Dodd on the undercard, and a host of more VIP talent will join us for that one. And we'll see you then. Good night.
Impressive stuff. It's about the right fight at the right time. Yeah, that's the right decision there.
He's a good fighter on his night.
Every fight wants to go, go, go.